power of Krypton Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, it's another Thursday, everybody. Welcome aboard if you are listening from Krypton Radio. We appreciate it, over at KryptonRadio.com. If you want to see what's going on, you can go over to twitter.tv/docking_bay_94, and that will get you our chat and things like that. We encourage you, if you're listening on the radio, to go to facebook.com/DockingBay94 Radio Show, all one word, and that's where Kit, Boba, Kit, Sovine will put up all sorts of cool links for all y'all who are listening on the radio. And that should be great. Studios up here. I am Sean Obi Sean Crosby.
This is Jeff Soldado.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And we have a guest.
Woohoo!
Oh, hello, everyone.
Andrew Lockerbie. Hey, dude.
That is me. What's going on, everybody?
I guess you're like Andrew Luke Lockerbie.
Sure. Or I go by Short Trooper in the chat and on social medias.
We can't call you Andrew Lockerbie.
Yeah, you could do, or Skywalkerbie.
Skywalkerbie?
Yeah, I'm Skywalkerbie on Twitter. So,
okay.
So either or.
So it's really
a cool name like y'all.
What's really funny is that if you guys have seen my Facebook page, I posted a memory that came up on my feed today that was of a bunch of us at Legoland, and I had to ask Andrew if he was the Luke because his face is in profile, and I couldn't tell. I'm like, that's you, right? And he's like, yeah, that's me.
And it's one of the first times I'm wearing a wig, so you probably
it made you hard to spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really funny. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
All right.
So what did everybody do with their weekend, or do we want to talk about a little bit about Andrew first to kind of...
Well, Andrew's one of the 501st, one of the Rebel Legion, does World War II costuming stuff from time to time. It's always fun to see him show up with a tank.
Yeah. Well, I love when we can bring that sucker out.
Which is pretty cool. And he is one of us. He is of the body. And,
I hope he didn't bring a tank out this week.
No, this is the wrong week for that. And we're actually going to talk about that a little bit later on, how now is sort of not the time for cosplay.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people who are out there doing it, and it's really... I'm sure it seems like a really good idea at the time. Yeah, not so much. But it was really funny. Jeff and I ran into Andrew at the El Centro Naval Air Show, which was really cool. And he showed up in a Jeep, and we're hanging out, and we're taking pictures with the Jeep and the car and the things. And then he's like, "Well, tomorrow is the tank."
Man, just wait. There's more.
That was pretty cool. So, but yeah, we've done lots and lots of Star Wars events together, and most notably, as mentioned, Legoland, which is always super fun. But not anymore because they took out Star Wars Miniland.
I was telling you, I missed that so much.
I know. I just
sad.
And I love Galaxy's Edge, but I feel like that's what killed the Lego.
Can we
Miniland.
get your mic down a tiny bit?
Yeah, is my mic really high?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
People are saying that your mic is loud.
Well, that's me all the time.
Loud.
Yeah, it's
what is new?
We have so many different audio sources for this thing, and so my mic is usually loud because people always complain. Like Colleen always complains that she can't hear me when I'm doing the morning show. Yeah, so my volume is like
that is true.
I am the voice of God. But
that sounds pretty good.
But not Morgan Freeman.
I realized that I forgot to put my background, or I don't have a background.
You don't have a background because
I'm like seeing the shelf today.
Yeah, it's
but it's cool though.
Your camera may have moved. You are also not in Zoom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is where the backgrounds happen.
I'm too tired.
I get to have fun with mine.
I'm tired today.
There's very little sleep been had by anybody.
Right. I stayed up. We had a sewing circle last night, and I stayed up a little past my bedtime, but I got like an amazing amount of stuff done. So that was
That's
good.
always nice.
Yes.
I did discover this week that if I go give platelets at the Red Cross, I will probably get a pretty good night's sleep afterwards. And so if they take blood out of my body, I'll sleep.
Do we just have to bleed him every night?
Oh, man.
Either
Jeez.
that or you have to be a vampire,
old
maybe. I
bloodletting.
have no idea.
Yes, ritual
That's right.
bloodletting.
Bring on the leeches, the sleep leeches. Oh my gosh.
Did anybody else do anything cool this weekend? My sewing circle was really
Besides
good because
give blood?
Crikey.
I got really far with my
Very nice.
18th century stays that I'm making, so I am delighted about that.
Cool.
And
Do you want to explain what stays are for?
sure, it's like a corset for people during the Revolutionary War. That was the underwear that women wore. And I'm mostly hand sewing them, so
Wow.
the channels are all done by machine, but I've been getting a lot of work done on them since we started doing the weekly sewing circles, CGW.
Okay.
Oh,
And
fun.
then since when the sewing circle was over, everybody just continued to hang out. I ended up cleaning out 6 drawers full of sewing items. It was
You had a really productive sewing.
super productive, but I didn't get to bed until like 1, and then I woke up when Sean came to bed, which was the ridiculous time of like 5 in the morning.
I couldn't sleep.
So, yeah.
Are you
This
sewing
sounds familiar.
those? Are you sewing those for anything in particular, or is it just for fun?
No, it's just for fun. I
Okay.
before COVID shut everything down, I had the goal of getting a 1912 evening gown finished by
Ooh.
the dance that Sean and I are hosting. Hosting it
Yeah.
the first weekend of August. But since that is no longer happening, I put it aside and worked on something I wanted to work on instead.
Which is good because I'm
There.
actually trying to get a historically accurate Captain Smith costume for the Titanic dance.
Ooh.
I figure I've got the big bushy white beard, right? So
Yeah.
let's
sure.
let's go Captain Smith. And we found the place that actually made them for the Titanic. They're still in business in England, and I'd like very much to get one, but they're probably not going to be cheap, and they're also
Yeah.
complicated. And so,
Yeah.
you know, and they're shut down right now too, so I'm like not even pursuing
Yeah.
it. But having a little extra time isn't going to be bad.
Yeah.
For
The
me.
sweatshirt things they sold were more.
Yeah, I'm not
But
sure
the White
that-
Star line.
I'm
things?
not
Yeah.
sure that's going to happen. I mean, it's a really cool idea, and I love it. But
What, the
it's
uniform
super
idea?
expensive.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. And they haven't
Yeah.
really gotten back to me with a price.
I don't think we
on
can afford
so.
it.
I mean, I bet you because this is the film or the company that made them for the movies, they can always charge
Oh no,
an
no,
arm and a leg.
you misunderstand. They made them for the Titanic.
They made them for the White
Oh, for
Star
the
line,
actual-
the
oh my
actual
gosh, yeah.
Titanic.
I-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missed that.
They
Okay,
are
so fair enough.
they are still in business in Southampton. You can just
Wow, no
walk
kidding.
right in.
I think they made them for the movie too, but
Yeah,
I could be
yeah.
wrong on
Sure.
that one.
But yeah,
Mela might know.
I'm yeah. I mean,
amazing.
these are the super hardcore guys, and failing that, if they're too expensive, then we're gonna go kind of like the Western costume route.
I should go get my stays and show
That's true.
everybody while
Yeah, you
Sean
could.
talks
Well,
about
while you
bloodletting.
do that, I'm not going to talk about bloodletting. I let
The
blood. They were
Western?
good. What I was hoping to have is my friend Andy sent me something today, which was really funny because I got it in the mail in a little envelope, and the mailman's like, "You owe me money." And I'm like, "Do I?" And he's like, "Yeah, you owe me $3.25. I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "For this package." He was very insistently ringing the doorbell, and I'm like, "But it's here. It got here. You mailed it without improper postage. It still got here. I mean, it's not. She didn't mail it collect." And so Andy mailed this little tiny envelope that was pretty light, and she put stamps on it, but apparently not enough. She did what the people at her post office said to do, and they mailed the ones through her post office just fine. But I don't know.
Good grief.
I think my mailman wanted like Starbucks money, and so he's like, "You owe me money for this." which was funny. But we opened the package, and they were kind of cool. This one's maybe just a tiny bit small, and I have to take off my mic here to do it. Hold on. But because we're all wearing masks these days, she came up with some like Road Squadron ones, which were kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's right.
so
Cool.
now,
Oh, cool.
Road Squadron masks, which are kind of great.
Yeah.
And we have almost 200 people in Road Squadron right now.
Yeah.
No
and,
kidding.
and so she's got a dye sublimation printer. And Colleen's going, wow. And just let me quantify that includes a lot of people who put Star Wars stickers on their cars. Not doing what we did. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's the
didn't
level
do it.
of getting many people.
It's easier that way
Yeah.
for some.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so she made this kind of like cartoony one, which was sort of fun.
That was pretty cool.
Which was kind of neat. And then she's got, sort of a space galaxy
And she
something
was
or
really
other.
sweet to send one each of those to both of us.
Yeah, she
us
sent four of them over here. They fit Colleen a little better than me because I have a big chin apparently.
It's the beard.
It probably is the beard. But anyway, it was super cool, and I think she just sent me the information. She does a bunch of them, and she'll print stuff out. And so she has a Square store that's called Area 51 Hobby Shop.square.site, which is cool.
Okay.
And so she's got like fun nerdy ones, and she'll do custom stuff, which is really cool. And it was just really fun. And she was gonna do like 501st stuff and things like that. But
Yeah.
we have red tape in our clubs.
Okay, so two things. The first one is that Mela confirmed. Mela worked on Titanic.
Right?
And she
Okay.
made the giant hat that Rose is wearing when she first goes
Kate
to the
Winslet?
ship and turns her
Yeah.
head, and you see her. So Mela made that hat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And she confirmed that the uniforms that the original company made for the White Star line were the same ones that they made for the movie Titanic.
Great.
Yeah.
Can she get us a
I
deal?
wouldn't doubt
That's
it.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Cameron is way into the very specifics of that. So
And,
Right.
and
Doesn't
you
surprise me.
could tell. Actually, Colleen and
Yeah.
I watched an episode of Bones not too long ago, where one of the characters was dressed as Captain Smith, and they supposedly work in a
Oh, right.
fictional version of the Smithsonian.
Couldn't
It's called
figure out
the
where you were going with that.
Jeffersonian. And so one of the characters, Hodgins, who's got a beard, dressed as Captain Smith, and his uniform actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
oh,
I
nice.
I'm sure they just went to Western Costume and they just like rented a thing, and that's my fallback. I could always do that, but I kind of like to have it. Not that I have a lot of events at which to wear it, but
But it's cool.
So these are the stays. This is one. There are a pair of stays. You get two pieces like this, and then a piece that goes in the front. But last night I did this final back piece where I hand sewed these eyelets right along here,
Oh, wow.
and put in all of these channels, which are reed, two pieces of reed back to back in those channels, and then sewed the back piece to what I already had, which was the larger piece.
Wow.
So
So-
in a pinch with all the reed in it, you can play it like a musical instrument.
Yes, that's totally the case.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now it's
and
Colleen
flute.
on the stay harp. So I got to say, Andrew, we've all been kind of missing like Galaxy's Edge and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And you being one of the people who has had the opportunity to work there. So I made this frame and background just for you and for us,
Oh.
because we're all like missing Galaxy's Edge and stuff. And
Does
so
that
I
mean I
made
need to change my background as well?
I made a
Maybe
little
it'll
thing
work.
just so
No.
I was like,
Aha!
I had a background ready for you just in case you brought that up.
That's funny. Well, you're that's the background on my screens, like in general. So if,
Yes.
if I like go and I like minimize you guys, that's what everybody sees. Well, that's interesting. I can't minimize Zoom. They won't let me.
No, it's got a weird.
Curse
service.
you.
Oh God.
It says, no, you can't do the thing.
Wah, wah. Yeah, so it's really funny. Just so you guys know that we always have weird tech problems on the show.
Oh,
So this was even more complicated. The day was nuts because we're trying to do something where we broadcast on the station's Twitch and things as well as ours. So we have the radio station, we have our Twitch, we have my Facebook page that should also be getting this right now, and then YouTube. And so we're scattering it to 4 different places. And then the station's like, let's add 3 more. And so we spent several hours working at that, and that was terrible. Oh, man. And then, so the top videos you're seeing are here live, actual camera, and then the bottom guys, Andrew and Jeff, are Zoom. And so it was a challenge. Today was a challenge. But fingers
I'm glad
crossed.
You figured it out.
It's going pretty well. Yeah,
it looks really good.
We cheated last week and we did a pre-recorded interview.
Yeah.
And we just played the pre-recorded Zoom interview. And it was just fine. Which we did for the Rancho Cucamonga library thing too. We did lots and lots of videos for them, and we just recorded them on Zoom and made it easy on ourselves.
Yeah.
Good.
So right on.
Yeah. I finally figured out Zoom. So
Yay.
Jeff Donahoe, Zoom Master.
All right, so Jeff, you want to take on Star Wars history?
Oh, I suppose so.
If I must.
I forgot I even picked these. It's been a while. So May 31st, 2003, we have Yoda and Dooku. They win the best fight in the MTV Movie Awards, and then Yoda accepted it.
Well,
I remember that.
That's better than Best Kiss.
Yeah,
they should totally not have gotten Best Kiss.
That would have been kind of awkward, I suppose. He's also really short. I mean, he really had to been pretty far over to that.
Well, but people think that's romantic. Tall guys, short women, lots of dipping. It's like it's a romance thing. But I don't know about Yoda and Dooku. I have no idea what their relationship is. We don't judge. We just go.
It could happen.
Yeah.
It'd be special.
Baby Yoda had to come from somewhere.
I think it's a time travel thing. It's probably Yoda. Probably really is a little guy in the show. So we have June 3rd, 2006, and it's about the same thing. Hayden Christensen, he wins the best villain at the MTV Movie Awards.
Bum. Wait, did he win or did Darth Vader win?
Well,
let's be honest.
For playing Darth Vader.
Yeah, for playing Darth Vader. Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Because Revenge of the Sith, yeah.
So what's the MTV Movie Award of like an EGOT? How many of these do you have to win to be like considered totally awesome?
I don't know. I don't think they have very many, right? They just have the movies and the music.
Right.
So it's like
you can get the Bop award, and it's.
Oh, that would be awful.
Whoa.
And then lastly, we've got May 31st. We're bouncing around, but 2019 is when Galaxy's Edge opened at Disneyland. Yay!
So it's
been a year.
Doubly appropriate that we got Andrew on the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure.
I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to seeing the book that's coming out with all the behind the scenes stuff. Although, like a lot of things at Disneyland and Galaxy's Edge that involve Star Wars, the more of these things that come out, the more useless I become. It's like, because I've been giving people tours and all sorts of stuff like that of Galaxy's Edge, and so they can just go buy the book.
So there's a book coming out. This is something I don't know yet.
Oh, you don't? Really? Oh my gosh!
I haven't heard this yet.
Yeah, it is a in-universe book for Black Spire Outpost. That's a travel guide to Batuu.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I have a couple of the other books that they released, but I haven't heard of this one.
Yeah, we've got Black Spire, the novel that talks about Vimerati and things like that.
Right.
But in this case, this is more of a travel guide. It's like, go over here to the Rocher tree, and this is.
That's going to be so fun for the cast members because it's just going to give us so much more to play with.
Exactly.
Which is for somebody because the way they set it up there, without too many spoilers and diving too much into Disney secrets, as it were. They set it up so you could easily play along, whether you were a Star Wars nerd or you've never seen the movies before.
Yeah.
So for me being a Star Wars nerd, I was like, absolutely, like I want to know every single thing about this planet, and they haven't released that yet. So
This
I'm
is
very
it.
excited to read the book.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
you see-
I think
you
it
walk
comes
around
out at
hard.
the end of this month. Now I got to go look.
Okay.
But
It's-
it's
and-
very
sounds
very
great.
soon. The book is up for pre-order on Amazon, and
Okay.
it's I have run into so many cast members who are so knowledgeable about the land, though.
I've only
Yeah, 'cause
run
I'll-
into one who wasn't. And
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
And and that's what made it really really shocking.
Yeah.
June. It comes out on June 9th. It's
Yeah.
like next week.
So, what I wonder is because Black Spire Outpost is not a gigantic place, if the book's going to cover the rest of the planet.
I think
That's
it
what I
will. I mean,
hope so.
It is a traveler's guide to Batuu and
Yeah,
not
okay.
Black Spire Outpost, so it does seem to
Yeah,
cover the
okay.
entire planet. And so, yeah, I hope it kind of goes a little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy
Yeah.
on it, which would be really fun. So the official description says, "Welcome to Batuu, a trading post at the edge of the galaxy where smugglers, bounty hunters, and rogue adventurers swap stories, food, and goods. Like any good tourist, you're going to need a guidebook to lead you through your visit. Here is your official guide."
I need that book now.
I know. Honestly, we have to pre-order it right now.
I know, geez.
And it's,
Where can we get it?
Oh,
Well, this is Google Books. I think Amazon has it. I just
Yeah, I'm
got an
looking-
Amazon gift card because I gave blood
Oh,
for $5. That
Yeah.
was kind of nice.
wow.
and I'm looking on Amazon, and it's only $13.99 on sale for pre-order.
Right.
So
And
at
so
that.
the cool thing about it comes in a little bit of a wrapper, and once you take the
Yeah.
wrapper off, the wrapper says Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Traveler's Guide to Batuu and a big red thing that's like, this is the guide to the planet. Once you take
Yeah.
that off, the cover is all in Orbesh, and
Oh, nice.
it's supposed to be completely in world. You can carry
Yeah.
it there and not
Exactly.
look weird. It's not going to be. I imagine once you
So
open
then-
it, it's totally in English.
Sean and I will be fighting over who gets to carry it around in our Galaxy's Edge pack.
Well, you're the book person, so you'll probably
Oh,
have
man.
to get to do it.
Andrew, you missed it last week. I kept trying to say what my favorite part of Galaxy's Edge was, and I'd be like, "Oh wait, no, one more thing, and one more thing, and this other
It's
time,
this,
and
it's
it's
that.
and another thing, you just keep.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I haven't been there nearly as much as Sean and probably Jeff.
Yeah.
Although I think Jeff, a lot of times when he goes, he has family with him, so he's
Yeah.
not at his own choice of what to do.
It's a fairly short trip sometimes when
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, we gotta go the ride. Okay, let's go.
Whereas
And
I'm like, we're gonna go, and all we're gonna do is sit in Galaxy's Edge and play cards. I don't care
And just
what else
enjoy.
happens.
I mean,
and yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
I am dying to go play a game of Sabacc over in the cantina in the corner.
That
Yeah.
would be
One of
awesome.
my bucket list items that I
You know
haven't
what
done
we've
yet.
been playing
We-
because Sabacc is a fairly complicated
It's too
game,
hard.
and it takes a while. Although this can take a while too. We have been playing Star War, and so we've been using the Sabacc deck to play the standard game of war. But we've incorporated some of the Sabacc rules, like the positive and negative cards and things like that, to
But that way we
make
don't
it
have
interesting.
to learn what the I can't even remember the rules for poker, so I'm not going to remember the rules for
Well, all the
poker
different
in an
hands
alternate
that you
universe
can
with
get,
different-
are really crazy. And one of the cast members came over, and he's like, "You're not doing it right." And it's like, who says
we know.
Who says we're playing that game? It's a deck of cards. You can play many
exactly.
games with the deck of cards.
That's
Yeah.
always, I love that.
Oh man.
But then
They're
the
just-
last time we were there, we had Gene had made us a bunch of money.
He
and
3D printed us coins.
I
Yeah.
still
So-
have mine somewhere.
we were
yeah.
gambling, and we got caught gambling.
We got in trouble for
in-
gambling.
in
Docking
Day
Docking
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
was cool.
Welcome to Star Wars Galaxy, everyone. This is
I know, right? That's and it's really fun to kind of see who's going on. One of my favorite visits there was a guy, who he and his wife had been in an accident, and they were on their honeymoon, and they were in Palm Springs, and they rolled their car, And so, but they're still like, we're here, we're from England, we're going to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And so they show up, and somebody came up to me from PhotoPass, and they said, hey, are you with the couple that's coming? I'm like, how do you know them? And they're like, oh, we know. And just come find me when they arrive. I'm like, okay. And as usually happens, somehow I ended up kind of like in charge, which is weird. So myself and another guy and a whole group of people got together and like wished them well and said, hey, and happy marriage. And we took a big picture and everything was cool. Then everybody kind of scattered, and the other gent and I stuck around and became their Sherpas to carry stuff around. And Sarah was her name from PhotoPass. She didn't drop character for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And we talked about everything about the land, about, I told her that I was trying to negotiate for the apartment above Doc Ondor's. It's got the nice red curtains and stuff, and they won't let me have the apartment, and why I thought I deserved it. And she's going off into left field. Oh, my God, it was amazing. And she was PhotoPass. She's not even in costume. She's just in, regular costume. Yeah, and just to let you guys know, since we're using Zoom and we're cheap and we haven't paid the thing, we may lose these guys and we'll have to get them back after the fact.
Yeah.
So
No worries.
we have about 10 minutes on Zoom, but they've actually been really cool and they haven't dumped anybody yet. So this may be the first time.
Good.
Well,
I'm excited.
because we only had one other person before, and they don't kick you off if you have one other person. But with two people, they might kick you off.
Oh, they did another thing for me, going, oh, if you schedule your next thing like right now, we'll make it open ended, which was really funny. So, but yeah, so just to let you guys, if you're watching over on Twitch, or if Andrew and Jeff go suddenly silent, you'll know what happened.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll just pretend that they're Bob and Doug on the International Space Station, and we
Okay.
could lose
Right.
contact any minute.
Oh man, that was a treat. By the way, I don't know if we'll talk about that at all tonight.
Oh, wasn't it
That's a
amazing?
segue.
Oh my gosh.
But I wanted to tag on to your story about the PhotoPass gal that stayed in character.
Yeah.
One of my favorite interactions I had was actually with a guy who came in a full Starfleet uniform.
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Trek. And as per usual, when the Star Trekkies roll around, they're usually like flashing their sign or saying something silly, because it's two opposing things. But this guy that I met, he played it off as if he actually found this planet and like crossed the universes.
Nice.
And I led him to search for junked spacecraft parts and tried to get him to steal it off the Millennium Falcon. And then I was like, yeah, she goes light speed. He's like, light speed? That's as fast as you go, And we had all these really great back and forth.
That's awesome.
And it was so nice and refreshing because normally you just get the Star Trekky symbol and then they're
Right. You get to live
making
long and
fun of
prosper and they're gone.
Yeah, and then they're like, Star Wars, and like doing something dumb, right? So that was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that bit.
Well, and Galaxy's Edge has a bit of a Star Trek vibe to it too, because everybody's running around doing the data pad, which is like basically you're running around the land with a tricorder, and you're interacting with it. And
if Disney would pay me just to do that, like I have so much fun on my own with that data pad.
Oh my gosh!
That every time I'm there, I try to get kids to play along because a lot of folks don't know about it.
Yeah.
Right. And the kids will always go up and they'll like touch the door panels, and I'm like, hey, don't you know you can hack into that? And they go, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, get your data pad out, and I show them the ropes of that, and it's always to me takes the experience to the next level, and I find the best experiences for me being a super nerd that wants to be invested in this are through that data pad, because that data pad has all the storytelling, it has all the fun little things that you can do and interactive things with the land. So
nice.
Colleen is a certified data pad junkie.
Yeah.
Yes. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, and one of my favorite experiences, and I just told everybody about this last week, so apologies to anybody that's hearing this the second time. But one of my favorite experiences was I was waiting for Sean, because whenever we go to Disneyland, it's a lot, or anywhere really, it's a lot of waiting while people talk to Sean. And so
it's not my fault.
No, it's not your fault. So while I was waiting, I thought, I'm just going to take a mission. And so I took a mission that led me over into the Rebellion area. And it was the first week that the Rise of the Resistance had opened, but we didn't have any passes to get on it. And as I'm walking by, looking down at my data pad, trying to figure out where I need to go for the mission, Finn contacts me and says, I need your help. I'm stuck on this ship. And I'm like, what? I was so into that. It was so much fun. I loved it. But it was super stressful, too, because I had said, I'll be right back. I was just going to walk over there and walk right back. And I ended up being gone for quite a while.
I had to come find her, and usually
Yes.
it's the other way around, which is pretty good. Yeah. No, I gotta say that we're coming up on this, or we just passed, I guess, this anniversary, and we're like today or something. I think it's probably like the anniversary that I went. It was like today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
for the first time, and so I'm like, Colleen's asking me, she's like, if you could go anywhere today, where would you want to go? And I was making this background at the time. I'm like, well, I don't know if it's just because I'm making this background or whatever, but I kind of want to go to Galaxy's Edge.
It
I
was,
would go
in
there.
fact, June 4th, 1 year ago.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
went to Galaxy's Edge for the first time.
Yep.
So
Home away from home.
these are the coins that Gene had made for us.
Oh, cool. You found them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the Imperial, I don't know. It's got the
Nice.
7. Nothing on that one.
The credits or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
they're
Mandalorian
various.
one.
various
Are they
credits.
metal?
They're actually was it PLA?
Okay.
Yeah, they're
cool.
PLA,
Just painted
3D
up.
printed, and then metallized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, those look great.
So he gave us that in a bag to keep them in.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Although the
I take it to
bag
me
is a
every
little
time.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's okay. I take it with me every time I go. You know, if I'm wearing the bounding, Batu, whatever.
I have a Galaxy's Edge like go bag. It's the
Me
bag
too.
I pick up on the way out the door. That's got all my stuff in it,
Yeah.
and it's super cool. But
I
but
gotta
so
figure out where I'm going to put the cup.
people were asking Andrew like what you do over there, and like what's your favorite thing to do when you're at GE.
It's I can't say
Man.
exactly what I do there. Don't want to ruin too much.
Yeah,
but,
and I have seen you do some of the things that you do.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
and I'm
I
also
have,
not
I have
saying.
seen you do some of the things that you don't do, is the proper way to put it.
exactly. Yeah, because of Disney Magic and upholding that, I don't like to openly really say all of the things that I do. But occasionally I'll get to have that one-on-one guest interaction that that most of the cast members in Galaxy's Edge have, the Batuians. So that gets to be really fun. I think it's any time that I can connect with a child or an adult, convince them that they're really there, and get them to play along. And that's anytime that experience happens, that's when it's the most fun.
That's
Because there's
great.
definitely a handful of folks. It's like this one lady, she's looking at me wide-eyed and nodding as I'm just dropping all of my standard verbiage that we use there, and she goes, I have no idea what you're saying, but you're doing a really good job at it.
I feel like I'm on an alien planet because it's all going right over my head. Well, and
that was the most fun, I think.
So Andrew has a background as a puppeteer, and in fact, you have a Twitch channel and show that you do that is.
Yeah.
Is it puppets playing D&D right now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, our Twitch channel kind of, well, now that the quarantine has happened, we've expanded to doing a whole bunch of other things that we enjoy but wouldn't normally showcase. So, but yeah, we play a lot of D&D and board games, tabletop games, and I've been streaming Planet Coaster, one of the PC games.
Cool.
On the channel, as I'm building a theme park and that sort of thing. But yeah, we have puppets, or as we call them in the community, felted friends that play. They play alongside humans and play D&D. So yeah.
Well, and so have you had the opportunity to go into the creature stall and grab a Kowakian monkey lizard, or grab a porg, or grab something like that, and sort of puppeteer that around the land for kids?
Not quite. That stuff is I'm not a part of the store operations, and that's who handles those
And that's
things.
only just limited to stores? Okay.
Yeah, I bet you if I went over there and chatted them up and asked them, I mean, I probably could end up taking one and and playing with it around town. But I get a little frustrated because it doesn't do everything that I want it to do.
I know, right? Yeah.
Because it's so limited, and I'm like, oh, but if only he could like tilt his head this way, and I could open the mouth even more. I could do like a whole bunch of. So my brain's already like, I want to do more with it. So
yeah,
so I get kind of stuck.
That's always the thing. And you do that with your own creations too, where you're like, okay, the next version.
The next version, I'm going to do this, and this.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool.
But,
right on. What's your Twitch channel?
Well,
Perception Studio on Twitch.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, and we play a show called Perception Check, and that's the D&D with Felted Friends. We host, like I said, a few other shows throughout the week, and we're live on that channel. I think almost every day of the week, except for like Saturdays and Sundays. No, Saturdays I think is our only day off, but somebody is live on that channel every day of the week doing something nerdy and something fun.
People need sleep.
Yeah, we rotate in shifts.
Whatever.
That's really funny. So. You were going to jump in with something, Jeff?
Oh well, I was wondering.
We lost him.
Hold, please.
We'll try to get him back. I knew that we were gonna do it. And let me make sure that they know that they can use the same ID that they did.
I'm trying to add Perception Studio in Twitch, and I'm having a hard time.
Now, what's going to happen, because this always happens, is they're going to come back and they will be on opposite sides of the screen.
Yes.
That they were on before.
In fact, they are. Already.
Are they already back?
Well, no, they're not. Well, I can't tell if they're back, but their background's flipped.
Oh, that's really funny. Let's see if we can get them back. Yeah, and this is just because we're totally cheap. Yeah, so Jeff will be on the left now because I admitted him first, and we'll see. Are you there, Jeff?
I'm back. Good grief! What the heck happened there?
Oh, we ran out of time. We ran out of time.
Yeah, if you have an unpaid account, you only get 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's because I'm cheap. All right, let's see if you guys end up back in the same thing.
This is weird. I'm right in the middle.
I know.
Whoa!
Are you there? No. You there, Andrew?
Let me get mine back up and running.
Okay. Yep. See, you have swapped now, and now I got to come in here and change your names.
Oh yeah, because we deal with that over on our Twitch channel too. Because for every all the D&D stuff, we stream it through Zoom.
Yeah.
And luckily, our company paid for Zoom, so we don't have to worry about ending it. But if anybody accidentally drops out or clicks out of it,
everybody
then it reshuffles all the videos around. Yeah. So here, I know your pain, 100%.
I'm gonna put you down here.
Evidently.
I can't see your name.
Man.
Hang on. Woohoo!
Wow.
It's like color form. I can
me.
just drag these things around. That's really great.
It's a floating screen print on my shirt. Wow, cool, eh?
Yeah. Well, you were holding up the coins that Gene made, and they would go transparent when you held them up. They would go.
It was weird.
Black, which was really funny.
I don't know if that's that's the camera or whatever. So
thanks, Eric. We'll talk about it later.
Before I got booted, what I was going to bring up was that at one point I was considering making a salacious crumb to carry around, like events and stuff. I guess akin to Sean's Yoda, but never really got around to it. I'm switching up to something else, something completely different though. That will be with me. I just don't know if it'll be ready for Celebration. But
we're not sure Celebration's going to be ready for Celebration.
Exactly.
The rate things are going. I'm looking at all the things that seem to be centering on Georgia, and I'm thinking really? Do you really think Dragon Con's going to happen? Because
you know what,
calling it right now would be a good.
I just see
plan.
A post here on Facebook that says that Tiki Trader San Diego, which is a small convention but still a convention,
sure,
if I'm not mistaken, moved their date to be August 1st, which seems soon.
It still seems soon.
Yeah.
Well, a lot
Yeah.
of people are playing hopscotch where they're like they put it off just a little bit and then they put it off again and then they put it off again.
maybe they're
That's
doing that.
happened
Yeah.
with some conventions. And things
Yeah.
like WonderCon, which is really huge, you kind of understand why they're just like we're postponing till next year. Or we did the
Yeah.
same thing with Costume College
Yeah.
where we're basically we're taking everything that we had planned for this year, and we're just going to do it next year. We've done the work, and things are have been planned, and we're just going to
Yeah.
do it again. But something like Dragon Con or Celebration or San Diego Comic Con, which are huge events, still have me slightly nervous. So
I thought SDC
Comic-Con's
switched theirs.
canceled.
Yeah.
Comic-Con is
yeah.
canceled, but Celebration is still going. Dragon Con is still going
It's just weird.
for
I-
now.
I was pondering with a couple of friends who I go to San Diego with for Comic-Con if people are just going to show up in the area anyway, since restrictions may or
Just
may
hang out.
not. Yeah, since restrictions kind of have been lifted or kind of shuffled around, makes it easier just to go hang out now versus staying at home.
Yeah.
I wonder if people are going to just dress up and roam around downtown San Diego in lieu of Comic-Con,
It wouldn't surprise me if that happened.
That would be interesting.
And there are still things that I'm seeing on my schedule that are like the cosplay picnic, and
Yeah.
things like that that various conventions do as an off season event, for them.
Gotcha.
But I have to say, and this is probably a pretty good introduction to something I did want to talk about. Now is kind of like not the time to be doing anything in cosplay out and about. And of course, we're not gathering together in groups or anything like that anyway. But I've been noticing with a lot of the protesting and a lot of things like that, people have been going out in their Batman costumes. I've
Jesus.
seen a Joker. I've seen
Yeah.
Master Chief from Halo. And I remember when there were writers' strikes, and there were a whole bunch of strikes. Lucasfilm, which Andrew and Jeff and I have done official Lucasfilm stuff before for them as various
Y'all.
characters at San Diego Comic-Con and things like that. They were very specific with us, and they sent us a note, and they said, please, 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 don't go down to any of these strikes in the characters. We don't want people to associate the characters. And it's not that we're not behind the writer's strike. It's not that we're not behind whatever. But we will tell you when it's time to do something that we're backing you in. And
Yeah.
then you can do it. And in fact, just a couple years later, Colleen and I ended up in San Francisco. We led the Pride Parade. We had Gregor and Lisa walking wheel with us. We had the Star Wars car. Colleen and I were dressed as Jedi, and we led their 3-trolley entry of Disney company employees to promote Pride. And they contacted us, and they said, yes, bring the car, wear your costume. This is official. We have approved this. And so, people going down and being Batman and assigning some kind of like a political thing to Batman is a little weird. And then the dangerous part is, though, that all bets are off right now. It's a very chaotic place to be, and it's nowhere you want to be in a costume, especially something like Batman that like limits your visibility and stuff. Could you imagine being down in that kind of a throng dressed as Darth Vader or a stormtrooper? It'd be really messy.
But
Oh.
well, to me, like you mentioned, even crazier is the Joker. I mean, the Joker is such a relentless, crazy character, and to have him showing up,
Yeah.
like
And
rioting and looting and all that going on,
He's
like,
chaos
that's-
incarnate.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
that's not a good.
Yeah.
it's
not
a good
right at
choice.
all.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that was really kind of interesting, like I said, I went to the American Red Cross, and I gave platelets. And the whole process of platelets, they like take blood out one arm, they skim the platelets off, and they put the blood back in the other arm. And this takes about 2.5 to 3 hours. I
Yeah.
get through at least 1.5 episodes of BBC's Sherlock when I'm doing this, and so it takes a while. And I you can't work your phone when you're sitting there in the table with things coming out of you. So I get on the phone, and Jeff's like, "Do you know this guy?" And I'm like, "What guy?" He like sends me like, and so one of the guys that we do know, who was part of the World War II reenactment communities. So Andrew, you probably know him.
Right, yeah.
He was part of the Jurassic Park motor pool and the Star Car group. So he used to park his Jeep next to my car, and we used to hang out at events at like the police stations and things like that that we would go do events for community events. And he did paintball, and he did airsoft, and lots of things like that. And he got dressed up in his costume. And he went down, and his costume was basically as close an approximation as he could put together of a National Guard uniform. And, of course, in addition to the police forces that are out, the National Guard is out. And he tried to embed himself into a unit, to a National Guard unit. And he brought his own weapon and his own ammo, and it was scary. It was really scary. And so I have no doubt he thought he was going to help. But it's kind of a really, really strange choice to make. And his Facebook page is everybody's like, the next time you get that kind of an idea, please talk to me first. And the National Guard caught him out, and they handed him over to the police. And charges are in the wind for him. They're gonna happen.
It's not worth it.
No, and it's really not. And just to the National Guard and whether Greg was actually former Army or National Guard, or there's lots of things that he may or may not have been. We don't really know for sure. To go down there and to do that, he's not in a reserve unit. He wasn't called up to serve in that capacity. And so to go and to do that is crazy. And so, this is just the public service announcement. If you get that kind of thought going like, I'm going to suit up and I'm going to go down and I'm going to go help anybody, protesters, the police, the whatever, please don't. Because, we like you guys. And it would just be really bad. And you can go online and you can do a search, and this made international news. And the judge for the criteria for infamacy is if other people know who you are. I was at the pharmacy, and the pharmacy lady who knows that I dress up in costume is like, "Oh my gosh, did you know this guy?" And she was asking me all these questions and about him, and it's like, this is a bigger story than I think it is. Because the lady at the pharmacy knows about it, and she's connecting him with the costume community of the things that we all do. So it's a crazy situation, and just don't, please, because it's weird, and it's just so funky. Because if you go to a reenactment thing, like I was saying, Andrew does World War II reenactment, and that's where you're supposed to be. You're in uniform. You have non-functioning weapons with you. You don't have ammo with you. You have demonstration stuff, and you guys actually put on a really good demonstration table, which is really cool. But that's where you do that. And I used to do Civil War reenactment. Yes, we used to do live fire blank stuff and that kind of thing. And that's the place.
You just have to be broken in some way in order to not be able to separate out the reality from the fact that you're not actually one of these people.
Yeah.
So you can't actually go do that. It's bad.
Right.
Well, and it's that weird thing that if you lived through the 1980s and you were into Dungeons and Dragons back in the 1980s, it was what the big fear was, is that you were going to get brainwashed by Dungeons and Dragons, and you were going to go off on some weird quests. Right, exactly. That's a Tom Hanks movie, right? Mazes and Monsters. And
that explains my mom's thought whenever I tell her I'm going to go play.
Right, yeah, and that's the world I grew up in. I have a very religious background, and Dungeons and Dragons was evil. And it was just this weird thing. And of course, I don't know anybody who's actually ended up that way. But this is like the closest thing where somebody was doing a lot of paramilitary stuff. He was doing a lot of paintball. He had the gear. He spent a lot of money on gear, which, now belongs to the government.
Right.
And his gun, this was the strangest thing. They caught him out for his gun because he had an AR-15 instead of an M16. And his particular gun was a creation that he made. He built his rifle. And it was what they call a ghost gun because it had no serial numbers and removed serial numbers on it. You couldn't trace it. Yeah, and that was just creepy.
That's smart.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird. So,
oh my gosh,
it's a really weird situation, and I mean, I always joke that at the end of my life, when I am in a senior assisted living or something. I will probably actually believe I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's just by virtue of the fact for having done it for 20-something years.
Oh man,
that's just it. I sit there in the bed and wonder why I can't pull the remote to myself with the Force.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this has shades of that, and it's a little weird because we don't usually encounter that in our communities.
yeah.
And for it to make international news like that, and in such a dangerous way, dangerous for him, dangerous for other people, it is kind of spooky. It is kind of spooky. So anyway, that's the public service announcement for today.
Good one.
Don't do that.
Do not do.
Right. It's really funny.
Be unfortunate.
Let's see. Looking at our document for the day, fans apparently have started a petition to get the Revenge of the Sith director's cut released, as if there is one. And I don't know. I think it's just the climate where everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're getting a director's cut of whatever. So they feel emboldened to ask for director's cuts of every movie.
Right.
Well, and a fan made a Revenge of the Sith modern trailer. Did anybody watch that? Has anybody seen it?
I think I saw it. It wasn't. Most of those modern trailers, in fact, are just not. They don't seem right because they are modern and it's weird. And so, like doing a super modern trailer for Star Wars, for like the original Star Wars movie, it's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it just looks weird. Huh. So, not that the trailer for the original Star Wars was good. Oh no, the one for the special edition was like way better.
Oh.
But
I mean, it was the 70s.
It was the 70s.
Yeah.
Everything was good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. A boy,
Somewhere
a
out in
girl,
space.
and a universe. It was like,
Yeah.
no, it was really terrible.
The Jedi Temple Challenge, which we talked about either last week or the week before,
We did.
has
Ahmed
postponed
Best.
its premiere date.
Did they say why?
Ahmed
bummer.
Best posted on Instagram. Hang on. I'm looking.
The sabered hand.
It's just postponed until June 10th.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's
Shoved out a little ways. Not too bad.
I'm going to assume that from the way he's wording this, that it's been pushed due to the rioting happening this week.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that
Just says all that is happening in the world right now. So
yeah, I have to say that Colleen and I have done the same thing where we were going to do unboxings and things like that, and it just doesn't feel like the right climate yet for that.
Well,
I feel weird about doing something really happy
not the right time.
when things are not happy.
Yeah.
And I don't see it here, but when we're talking about Star Wars stuff, can I just say, oh my God,
No.
John Boyega?
Oh yeah, it is. It's down. It's down at the bottom. It's under media info. I don't know why.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
John Boyega basically did one of those. I don't care if I ever work again. This is too important to me. Kind of a speech, and it was like it was very moving, and it was really something. And he's just like, don't care. this is what I need to say. And I appreciate people who like have that kind of guts. People get very we bag on celebrities all the time because it's like, who wants to hear from you? And then somebody comes along and does something like this, and you're like, damn, that was good.
Yeah.
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 That's he on Instagram he said, "My brothers and sisters in America, listen, we love you. You're not alone." Hang on. I'm going to get emotional. "You're giving us so much opportunity. You've done so much for the world, for culture. That's why we're here."
Yeah.
That was just like a separate aside to America.
Right.
This is as opposed to his
whole main speech.
I posted the transcript of it on Facebook this morning.
Yeah.
So,
we are going to buy you, Jeff, some quotation marks. Because
I didn't put them on there?
for a minute there, we thought you were like a 28-year-old black man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it depends on what time of day. It
Right.
is, you know, I mean.
I guess, by the end of the day,
see me in the
we're
morning.
all Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
And then I got ready for bed.
Yes. My voice.
That's pretty funny. And I don't know, Andrew, if you have our document open or anything like
Yeah, I
that.
do.
You are more than welcome to jump in with any opinion. It's free
following
for
along.
the whole show's a free for all. If you haven't noticed.
Yeah, right. No, I'm all about
Yeah.
it. And I just noticed the Jedi Temple Challenge. I am literally under a rock during this quarantine and not getting out, even though the internet's at my hands. So this is a new show coming out.
It is, and it was going
Yeah.
to be on Disney Plus originally, and then they moved it to YouTube so everybody could see it for free.
Oh, interesting.
And Ahmed Best gets to be a Jedi Master.
I'm so excited for that man because
Is that not the best? And he's a producer on
yeah.
the show, which
because
is
he got such a bad rap for Jar Jar Binks,
Yes.
even though the things that people hated had nothing to do with him, and he was so fantastic and so revolutionary in that role, and it all just got overseen because of people's deep hatred for that character and the way that George put that together, I guess.
Well, because it wasn't meant for adults; it was meant for kids.
Right.
If you were 9 years old, Jar Jar was amazing.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and if you were 9 years old, you liked the weird little lollipop thing that was the tongue that came out of Jar Jar's mouth. You thought that was the best. And the adults were like,
Okay.
"Ugh."
Yeah, right. You're like, no.
Well, that's disgusting.
For me, I don't really understand why people were upset. I mean, for me, Jar Jar was Jar Jar because it was a planet full of Jar Jars. So everyone looked like Jar Jar. That was the good.
Well, it
Except
wasn't a whole
for-
planet full of Jar Jars.
It was half a planet full of
Yeah.
Jar
Half a
Jars.
planet.
But
But
I think part of the
except
problem...
for Boss Nass.
Right, except for Boss Nass. I think that part of the problem with Jar Jar is that he was the top of a pyramid of uncomfortable characters in a movie. Because we got Watto, which was an uncomfortable character. We got the Nemoidians, which were uncomfortable. And
Yes,
I
know.
think in George's attempt to create a varied universe of aliens, I think either he or his performers came up with characters that were more stereotyped than they thought they were going to be. And that was and Jar Jar was at the top because you had the sort of like pseudo Chinese of the Nemoidians. You had Watto, who was like an Arab Hebrew kind of guy and very stereotyped. And then you had Jar Jar, who people accused of being like a Stepin Fetchit kind of character. And I think that's what doomed Jar Jar. Because if you just take him out of context as a funny, goofy, dopey character, he's really funny. And he moves the story along. And, you know, he acts as a foil to all the other competent people around him. And that's what he's supposed to do. So if you're 9 years old, you think he's awesome, and you don't clue into the weird racist stuff. And whether it's real or not, it's just perception. It's all optics. And so I'm sure George didn't mean it that way. I'm sure that the performers didn't mean it that way. And we've all seen the special features of how the performers are like, here's how I came up with this. And so, you know, it wasn't an intentional thing, but it was still an uncomfortable thing.
There was a fan edit I mean, there are several fan edits, but one guy did one where he actually went in and redid the voices and such for all the characters with different, like the Neimoidians and Jar
That's cool.
Jar and everybody. So it gave them a unique sound instead of their weird stereotypical.
Strange things. I'm going to jump in here and remind you guys, if you were listening to us on KryptonRadio.com, thank you. This is DockingBay94. We appreciate you tuning in. You should be over at Facebook.com/DockingBay94 Radio Show. That's where Boba Kit Sovine is posting all of the super cool links. If you are watching us on twitch.tv/docking_bay_94, we appreciate you there too. You're welcome to make comments in either place, and we will try to reply to your questions and comments and things, and because you are as much part of the show as we are, and we're entering our second hour here. I am Sean Sean Crosby.
So just Soledadaho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And I'm Andrew Short Trooper Lockerbie.
Woo! And
Alrighty, let's move on to theme parks.
okay.
Okie
Sure.
Yeah, let's talk about Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea are staying closed a little longer despite getting the okay to open up.
Good for them.
I think that is a very
Very
sober
wise decision.
decision to make. Yeah.
They have not announced when the opening is, according to this article.
Okay. Now, I guess we have this coming up. We'll talk about it in a minute. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump into whatever it was you were going to talk
Oh
to?
well, I was going to say so. Disney, or not Disney, but Universal Studios Orlando is open, right? Have they
I
already
think-
opened?
I think
Universal Studios
so.
had a annual pass holder preview most recently,
Okay.
where they opened for annual pass holders to go and enjoy the parks, and which I'm assuming they did that to gather data and figure out how they were going to work with crowds.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, that's
Okay.
what they're doing.
Because I
Yeah.
noticed that they were
Say.
doing things like they announced their new Jurassic Park Raptor character and things like that. But I also noticed that they were like asking for openings here in California.
Says they're,
Okay.
It says they're back.
Huh.
Universal's website says, we can't wait to see you again. We miss you like real bad. We miss your let's do this look and the way your laugh turns to a scream, to a cry, and back to a laugh. We're finally ready to roll out the red carpet and kick open our gates. We're back and can't wait until you are too. We've added new guidelines throughout the resort to get the good times going again, social distancing, health screenings, and sanitizing.
Okay. And do they have a date
Let's,
of?
hang on.
Because they've been in the
Find
news a lot, and
tickets.
apparently they're petitioning here in California to reopen. So I thought maybe they were reopened in Florida, and that was kind of going okay for them.
Number of
Although we just had a
Let's-
spike from Memorial Day of more COVID things. But there was
I
like
don't know,
a
they seem-
2,000
They seem to be
person
willing
bump.
to sell me a ticket.
Of course they are.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I don't see anything on here about. Let me find a calendar.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm
But,
stuck in their ticket loop here.
It's nice to see that Orlando got the baby raptor that we've had here for a while. They kind of made a big deal about that, but we had
Oh.
the baby
Oh, boy.
raptor for a little while.
So no, they are closed still, and
Give
but
it a
their
name,
city
too.
walk is open.
June 7th is what I see.
Yeah.
That was their original opening date.
Um,
Are you sure that's correct?
no, I'm not.
Oh no, it says Universal Studios Florida, Universal's Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay will be open beginning June 5th.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
great.
The June 7th,
Wow.
actually, that was the first thing that came up when I searched, and it said 1990.
I just realized
Yeah.
that was the day like they first opened to
Yeah.
the public.
It says city walk hours are 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and they stop allowing entrance at 7 p.m. So they're currently opening 4 hours a day. And yeah, they're going to be open every day for the rest of June.
Okay.
The park starting Friday.
Interesting.
9 a.m. to
So
7 p.m. or
fingers
6
crossed.
p.m.
We'll see how
Wow.
that goes. I know people who are
Wow.
booking trips to Florida already. They're like,
Yeah.
must go
It's
theme
too
park.
soon
Yeah.
for me. I'm not comfortable with that at all.
I have a friend of mine that lives that lives in France, and they applied for the program that brings them out to work at Epcot, and so far she is still a go to come out to Orlando
Wow.
in this next month or two.
Wow.
So they haven't called her off yet, but
Oh.
I mean that's such a huge undertaking, because you remember at Epcot they staff all of the different countries with people from those countries,
Right.
So
Totally.
that's such a logistical nightmare to try to plan for that. They plan for these things like months in advance, and if not like a half a year or to a year in advance, to get these kids out to work in the exchange program at Epcot. So
Yeah.
to like start that process or to restart that process, I don't want to be the person trying to do that. Like, that is so much work, and then for it just to be called off, and you
Yeah.
have no idea. But then when the park does decide to open, you have to staff it. You know, like that's
Well,
insane.
and in your friend's case, is there like a retraining period? You have to go and learn that position. So are they starting her a little early because of that?
Yes. So, I mean, she was originally scheduled to go out there in June anyway to start her program, and then it begins for an entire year, continues for a year. And so I think right now she said she's scheduled to go out there on June 20th. But the opening date's just kind of all over the place. But ideally, yes, they would be out there ahead of time to learn their role, to train in it
Right.
before the park would be open. Normally, it wouldn't be a problem because they would have people already in place doing that job, and then they would just train and then catch up, and then those people would leave, and then they would take over, kind of a thing.
Right.
But now it's like just all up in the air. And
Wow.
then most recently, my girlfriend was actually in the college program. She did a 6-month contract in Orlando, and they actually canceled that because of COVID, and because they closed the parks. And she was one of the people that pretty much got terminated.
That was so sad. There were so many people I
geez.
saw who were in that program who
Yeah.
it's like losing your funding at school.
Yeah,
It's like
pretty much. And they literally just said, go home. You know?
Yeah.
And for her, she had someplace to go, but a lot of them didn't. A lot of them are still like in Orlando trying to find a place to live. And
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of
Jeez.
unfortunate. So hopefully they figure it out soon on what they're going to do so they can keep all these people from waiting around.
Wow. And speaking of that, Universal Studios, along with the Santa Monica Pier and somewhere else, I don't
Six
remember what it
Flags?
said. Six Flags, yeah. Sorry, they're petitioning to open, stating that their theme parks actually offer a more controlled environment than beaches, gardens, or hiking trails.
Gotcha.
And so that's their argument on why they should be able to open by mid-June.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's I think it's called the Enchanted Forest in Oregon. It's doing the same thing. They're going through the process of trying to reopen, and they just have to wait.
Well,
Well, we'll see. I'm this bump that we've had recently between now and the next 2 weeks. I'm interested to see what kind of a ramp that we have, because people have been out, people have been collecting in public. I've seen a lot of people with masks, but Colleen went on a short walk before the show, and you hit like 50% of mask usage.
I saw 21 people. 21 people?
Yeah, 21.
Oh,
And 11 of them were unmasked, and 10 of them
Yikes.
had masks.
Right.
And that was just on a 10-minute walk around the neighborhood.
Yeah. So,
oh boy.
people are still being super casual about it.
And a lot of the people that are unmasked, oddly, don't even bother to try and stay away from you. Like, I mean, it's a game of Pac-Man when you go out for a walk in the neighborhood, because you're like, okay, there's somebody else coming at me down the block. Do I cross the street or do they cross the street? Okay, they've got a
Yeah,
stroller, so
what
I
the
should
heck?
cross the street.
Right.
It's that sort of reasoning, and it seems like the more like the people that have masks are more likely to also try to distance than the people who don't have masks.
It's true.
It's kind of crazy. Something that people, I don't know, maybe Jeff would be able to get this. I think Sean and I are too far away, but Disneyland.
I thought you were going to say we were too old.
What?
Disneyland had sent out a survey to some of the annual pass holders. Neither Sean nor I got this survey, asking if they made it available to have Disneyland food sent to your home by delivery. Would you be likely to order it?
That's
Wow. No, I did not get that.
I saw the
later
news
and find out.
story.
Someone else did.
That's funny.
I saw the
Yeah.
news story about it, and it looked pretty good. And someone's like, well, if they've got Dole Whip and this and that and the other thing. And
Could you
I'm like,
imagine?
Some things would be good.
right.
But I mean, you brought it
But-
all the way on the best day. If you had no traffic, it's 45 minutes to get between Disneyland and our house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so, if there were absolutely no traffic, you would still have a melted Dole Whip and a cold, nasty churro
Yeah, not
by the
really
time they
Yeah,
got
sure
here.
how they
very
would do
nice,
that.
yes.
And a lot of the other food at Disneyland, while it may be iconic for while you're there, it's not. It's an amusement park.
Right.
It's not known
Yeah.
for the high quality of its food.
Well, but everybody's got
I
their
guess it depends where
favorite.
you eat.
And
Yeah.
so I've seen people, like people who work at the park, are like, I think Roberta was saying this. She's like, great, send me 2 Monte Cristo sandwiches. Send me but unless you
Yeah,
live
Monte
across
Cristos.
the street,
A Monte Cristo sandwich does not travel
it doesn't
well.
travel. Right,
No.
exactly.
It's
And
like a
No.
churro. It's fried.
Right.
right.
It's going to be nasty by the time it travels 45 plus minutes
Because
to get here.
you eat this thing and you can't eat all of it because it's huge, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to take it with me and put it in my backpack, and I'll just eat it later. No, it just does not.
I have gotten so sick from eating at Blue Bayou and trying
Really?
to finish
Wow.
the meal. Yeah, because I tried to
I'm
finish
trying
it.
to finish.
Too much.
And then
food.
you go from there to sit in front of
Was it the
Fantasmic.
Crisco?
I don't remember what I ate there, but
not
it
at
was
Blue
dinner.
Bayou. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Blue Bayou has a Monte Cristo sandwich.
Yeah, but you usually don't
but
get it
that's
there.
not something I get.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
But it's just the amount of food. And
Huh.
because you spent so much money on it and it's not something you
yeah.
can carry around in your hand, I'm like, I'm going to finish the whole thing. Yeah, I ended up in first aid.
Oh no.
Everybody else watched Fantasmic and I went and laid down so that I wouldn't throw up.
Oh, my question is it still all going to cost the same if they're going to do this?
Oh, it's going to
You know?
cost more.
Well, you've
right?
got a. I'm
Or
sure there's a
more, right.
premium attached to it, and there's a
Yeah.
delivery.
A delivery
good then.
fee.
I'm good then. I can wait for it to open up again.
Well,
Yeah.
the hot
I like
stuff
the
will be
jambalaya.
cold by the time you make it out the gate, and the cold stuff
Yeah.
will be warm by the time you make
There
it out
is
the
Yeah.
food at Disneyland. I'm not trying to say that Disneyland and California Adventure and Downtown Disney
Oh, no.
don't have good food
They
in
do.
some
Oh
of the
no, they
restaurants.
do. There's some that's not.
But
so it is.
you could, the same distance away are like the really fancy restaurants
Right.
all around LA.
Yeah,
So,
or you can go to the Northwoods Inn and get a similar thing. Or you can.
The only place I can't really get like what I like to get at Disneyland anywhere else. I have maybe there's somewhere nearby. I'll have to look and see, but I haven't seen it anywhere else other than going to like New Orleans. Is jambalaya? It's like what restaurants have jambalaya
I
besides
could find you
Disneyland?
jambalaya.
Yeah, Colleen.
It's gotta be
Wait,
another-
Jeff, I'll
there's gotta
find you
be another shop.
jambalaya.
Colleen would be
I
able
can't
to
eat it
to do
myself.
that.
I'm allergic.
Okay,
But
there must be one in Orange County somewhere.
I will go on a couple of my websites that I look at, and I will find you
Okay.
jambalaya.
Well, and
Because
there,
I can make it, but it's a long process.
there used to be like we had a place called the Raging Cajun, and that was like a staple of their thing. But the restaurants come and go. But I've even seen food trucks that offer jambalaya.
Yeah.
I can't tell you if it's good or not. I am not a connoisseur of jambalaya.
Ritter's
It
Steam
depends.
Kettle Cooking, Kettle in Santa Ana, Kettle Bar Steam Cooking in Anaheim, and Rue Creole Cuisine in Laguna Beach all offer jambalaya.
Woohoo!
And in
Cool.
fact, oh no, this is a Yelp article. Never mind.
Yeah, the proper way you make it is rather dry. It's not as moist together. Like Disneyland, usually it's almost like you're just short of a stew. At Disneyland, it's really very more liquidy than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I want to give you guys like a 3-minute warning. that we are probably going to
Why
lose you
don't
again.
we just
Oh,
have
yes.
them log
Oh,
out?
jeez Louise.
Would that work? Just have them log out and then log
Yeah,
back
you can
in?
log out and log back in like right now if you want, instead
But
of
I wonder if
getting
it would,
dumped.
if all. I don't know how that works.
We'll just restart you back into the thing. And
Sure.
it's only because we're cheap and we're not paying
Yeah, I know,
their
man,
money.
what the heck?
All right, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
See you in a
Yeah.
minute.
See if I can get it to work.
Giant Jeff.
Yeah, I
Ah,
can't
what
eat
the heck?
jambalaya. It's sad.
What the heck? Can't get it. There it goes. Good grief.
Because there's
Okay.
like shellfish in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I had jambalaya was, in fact, in New Orleans in 1985. So it's been a while.
Okay. I have to get out of the thing. How do you stop a Zoom thing?
You go down to the bottom and towards the right. You have to, see all the way over at the right. There's a red button.
Oh yeah, end.
Yeah.
Okay. End meeting for all. And then stop. I think they were too fast for me,
Oh.
and they like came right back like right away. It
Oh.
was pretty funny. I'm gonna make them.
I thought if you were still there, it would be just you and it would be separate, but maybe not.
No, it was me, and it didn't restart the timer.
Oh.
It has now restarted the timer, and now they are back. Mwahaha.
And I tell you, as far as Dole Whips go, Joe's Italian Ice, because then you're not limited to pineapple. I love Joe's Italian Ice.
is fantastic.
So good.
Hey, I'm Andrew again.
That's okay. You just leave our names there. We'll
So,
just keep swapping roles. It's fine.
How
that's
did that
okay.
work out?
I've gotten really good at that. I'm like, swap.
In looking for this for Jeff, I've opened up the 50 best restaurants in Orange County, and like I'm dying here.
Oh, just because you're like drooling?
It all looks so good. Yeah.
Well,
That's really funny.
that's okay. Where
All
did I
right,
go?
So, are we all set?
Oh.
Should we move along?
Sorry, Jeff.
I have a weird thing on my face.
Yeah, well, that's because Zoom wanted to have its little window up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. What's next?
Next.
I will have to make jambalaya. What a part of the jambalaya can you not have? Colleen, is it the fish portion?
I can't
or
have
shellfish, or-
shellfish. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
allergic
what-
to crab, lobster, and shrimp.
I can make it with shrimp, but I've been usually making it with like chicken and sausage instead, with omitting the fish.
That would be good. I suppose
Cool.
I could make it.
Yeah, it's the hot crustaceans, man. Just don't work for her.
Gotcha.
They make me all itchy.
Which is funny because when we first met, and actually, so our 30th anniversary is coming up. I had all these great plans for our 30th anniversary. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. I've been working on some like cool, special, neat stuff. Yeah, that's all gone to heck. Because we're here and we're like stuck inside. But going going to Blue Bayou and stuff would be really cool. But back in the old days when we were first going out, I watched her like polish off 2 crabs and
Oh,
Yes,
dear.
well, you get one bad crab, shrimp, or lobster, and
And you're
that's
toast,
it for the rest
yeah.
of your life. Yeah.
it's like, I was like,
Dear.
it
Dun,
was really sad. So
Yee.
Universal Orlando just got a new baby raptor named Sierra. I'm
Oh, this is what you
assuming
were
that
talking
this
about a minute
isn't-
ago.
Yeah. Or we've had this.
Oh,
We've
this
had the
is
same
cute.
thing out here for a while.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like they just now got the hatching area going.
Well,
They
They had the little tiny baby ones over in Orlando, which you and I saw, Jeff, last time we were there.
Yeah.
I think this is like the toddler version of it. This is the
Oh,
pretty
okay.
sizable one that is outside the ride that they sort of bring out and introduce, and you can pet it and do that kind of thing. It's
This is really cool. They had the same setup out at our Universal, and I got to experience that over the winter, and it's awesome. Like I want this job super bad because you just get to play with a baby velociraptor. It's a full hand puppet creature that has a variety of expressions.
it looks great.
it's
Yeah, and then coupled on top of the particular performer that I saw, was just fantastic, and
Nice.
her relationship to the dinosaur is what made it real.
Yeah,
And that work is something that I always look for because it's very close to what I do, and just watching that and experiencing that, I was like, this is cooler than the big giant dinosaur.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's a lot easier to buy into, I think, than the big giant dinosaur. Which there's nothing cooler than a big giant dinosaur, but this is really, it's very realistic, and it there's a lot of character that you can sort of imbue through it, and the performers I've seen have been really on it, really on it.
So the full size one, the full size Velociraptor, I don't know if I've seen it up close as that they have that comes out at the park.
In the pen area, I know that Colleen and I have seen it
at Universal. Either one, but I don't know. Is it a guy? Is the suit the raptor, and then someone that's basically in a black suit, or is it he fully encased?
He's
fully encased.
It's a little more encased than that. Yeah,
and he's fully encased. His legs go down to the raptor's legs, and then he's kind of like almost hunched forward up into the chest and neck of the raptor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Orlando's works a little bit better for me because the raptor is hidden inside an enclosure for the most part, and then kind of peeks his head out of a break in the fence to visit with you. And that works better for me because the thing for me that I find hard to sell is the feet and the legs.
Right.
And the movement of him ends up being very chunky, and it's kind of weird.
They don't have the digitigrade going then, right?
Yeah.
No, you can't. And but keeping the mystery on it too is also really cool. I mean, the less of it you show, the more magical it is. And and they really do it. I had one job at Universal once. I did the voice of the Knight Rider car that kids would sit in. And so we would sit in a room, and it was hot and it was stinky, and we would watch kids, and I had a pair of binoculars, and we'd sit there and talk to them. And the best way to get the kids to buy into it was to personalize it as quickly as you can in the 30 seconds you have with this kid, and so you'd sit there and do something like, I see on your shirt that you have a Z80 processor computer, and I'm functioning off a Z80 processor computer. Whatever, you would do something that with the kids like, because you made it very, very personal.
No way, man.
And I think that's one of the things that gets lost when you have the raptor that can come out in the middle of a pen that isn't hidden. It's less personal.
Should have a talk.
Yeah, it's less of a private thing. So, Alan,
like the one in Jurassic Park 3. Yeah, right. Alan. You're like, oh god, that's something I never want to see. But yeah, so they in in Universal Hollywood, they just kind of parade the raptors around within their space.
Yeah.
So I like the enclosure that has the opening and whatnot at Orlando. But I'm glad that they finally got the baby too, because I think that's a great addition to the cast.
I like what they did, and I know there's some people that don't like the character, but in Animal Kingdom, where they have Kevin walking around, which is the weird
the bird from Up
creature. Yeah. But the person puppeteering that just does a great job. A really excellent.
It's
job
a good experience to see in person, whether you like the movie or not. They did a pretty good job with it when I saw it.
We had Kevin out in California first for the Pixar Play Parade, and I got the pleasure of working with that
cool.
fantastic creature. And at the time, I actually trained the performers on how to perform as Kevin. And so that particular bird holds a near and dear place to my heart as far as the performance. So I'm glad that it's been extended across coasts and you enjoyed an equal performance.
So then is it a lot like, say, like Bear in the Big Blue House or Big Bird, where you've got one arm way up in the air and the other one
not at all
kind of thing, or no? Okay.
It's quite different.
The one that I really wanted to do, and I've seen like all of the videos that exist of this, and if I had a job over at DCA, it would have been this. This would have been amazing. beyond the one I actually got, which was Crush's Turtle Time.
Yes,
Turtle Talk. But they had a really cool sort of Segway-based RC Bunsen and Beaker.
Yeah. The mobile experiment labs.
Oh my God, it was so amazing, so amazing. And that I'm watching that thing going, that would be my job right there. That would be just phenomenal.
I've heard it still makes appearances in Epcot occasionally.
Yeah.
On a light day or whatever the
No,
parameters are.
we haven't seen it here in forever, which is a bummer.
Not here, yeah.
And but yeah, it's in Florida. It does every once in a while. Somebody will post a video going, "It was here."
Yeah.
Which was super cool.
Because they have Muppet Vision 3D still in Florida, but
They do, and
yeah.
we have Philhar Magic, which I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sold on.
They ended the Muppet performance that was in Liberty Square there, which is a shame.
Well,
But,
you were there for like the last 2 days of it, weren't you, Jeff?
Yeah,
Didn't they end it like the weekend you went to Walt Disney World?
I think so. Yeah, they had extended it and were like, "Hey, we can see it," because I never had seen it. It was
Cool.
magical. Yeah.
The you knew Andrew, you knew Jono, right?
What's that?
You knew Jono?
No. the
John.
name's not
Okay,
ringing.
so John was he was a Disney Imagineer, and he
Okay.
used to work for Lucasfilm, and he did the Clone Wars and whatnot. And he used to do Hammond, John Hammond, for the Jurassic Park guys, and he did Captain Rex. He did lots of cosplay stuff, Dum Dum
fun.
Dugan, basically anything with a beard or a bald head he would do. And so he and I were talking because I wanted to do Hammond. And but I have this thing about if somebody's nailing it, I won't do the character until they're done with it. And unfortunately, Jono passed away, and so now I'm starting to reconsider it. And one of the things that I talked to him about that I really had wanted to do was exactly this. I wanted to do John Hammond and have like the baby raptor and do that kind of thing, which I thought would be
that would be
really
cool.
fun.
That would be great.
Which is essentially the same thing I do as Obi-Wan and Yoda. It's not really any
Which
different.
I haven't seen in such a long time.
Because Yoda is taking a long nap.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
He has aged beyond the ability to go on adventures with me, unfortunately, which is very sad.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see
great new one.
what we can do about bringing him out of retirement.
I would love that because that was my favorite thing to see the two of you
It
intricate kids
was
for hours.
Well, and there was another one that I wanted to do another one that we could do with Luke's, where we could get Yoda on Luke's back and have him sort of do performance over the shoulder for Luke, which would be really great. And there's a lot of things to be done, but it takes money and time. And everybody's so focused on Baby Yoda right now that I'm hoping that old Yoda, we can get some love for him and get him back going.
Well, and that reminds me, I actually want to build a puppet Baby Yoda because I have a full Scout Trooper outfit. So I think it would be perfect to have. I don't need to punch him, but I would have a satchel, and then I would be carrying the satchel with a fake arm, so I could puppeteer the Baby Yoda with my
Right.
Nice.
just like the Baby Velociraptor's done.
Yeah.
That would be
So,
great. That would be
I
really
need to get
fun.
on that.
Sweet.
Well, and oh my gosh, there are so many Baby Yoda things coming out right now that, but none of them are quite full scale. Because I think he's 18 inches tall, and the ones I see coming out are like 11 inches and 7 inches. But Sideshow has a really beautiful one that is 18 inches tall. It's also something like $350, $400. It's very expensive, and it's just it is a static statue doll action figure something, but it's life size and it's very accurate and they went off of the original sculpt apparently to do it. And it looks amazing. It's on their website.
Cool.
So you need something to at least kind of match that.
Yes.
In terms of accuracy.
Yeah,
but
nice.
Grant Imahara from MythBusters, he built one. He's got one on his Instagram and on his Facebook and his website where he's done one that's pretty good. It's like 75% of the way there. So and I think the fault there, and it looks great. Some of the actions on it are a little weird. I think the fault is that Grant is a hardware guy, and he's not a character guy. He doesn't create characters, and I think he needed to partner with someone who did. To do it, but he's planning on taking his and going to kids' hospitals, and he's going to do good with it. And it looks pretty good. It's like 3/4 of the way there. But cool. He's the professional with lots of money, and he's getting it done. So I can't really.
What the heck?
I can't really talk.
So when we were talking about Universal Orlando, we didn't mention the fact that they have special rest areas where you can remove your face mask.
Oh, cool.
That was interesting. The U rest sections.
It's just like it's an outside area that they've fenced off, and they've put a sign up that says, "Please enjoy this U rest area. You may remove your face covering while in this place, in this area, as long as you have social distancing." But they don't have. There's no markings on the ground, so they don't have anything to do if it gets too crowded.
There are no boundaries.
So well, there are fences around it, like low fences, but there's no tape on the ground, so you don't know. Like all they had to do was run a grid of tape across the ground.
Well, and they will probably figure that out when people start milling in a weird crowd.
But it looks like they have a cast member out front that might kind of help assist with something like that too, I would imagine.
Having somebody police that, I think, would be good.
It's interesting because part of the area is gravel, it looks like, and part of it is cement.
I just found myself in two situations where I needed to remove my mask. And the first one was I had gone to give blood, and I had to drink juice and cookies and sort of get myself back in the thing. And then the other one was taking your car in for smog, where they did have a section over in the corner with some benches, and they're like, this is the area that you can sit without your mask and drink a soda, that was outside and away from people. And so, but it was weird, like, sort of being allowed to do that.
They have, there are actually several areas. They're showing.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It must be the not cast members, the annual pass people, because there are people in all of these areas. They're showing people there.
Yeah, but I like that they opened up the Sinbad Stunt Show Theater because that's not being utilized. So they just said, have the entire theater and spread out and use this space to relax. I think that's a neat idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Although it looks like they've like blocked off part of it, but I can't tell if that's just part of a set that I'm looking at.
Yeah, it still has the set pieces left from the show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Part of it goes up to like where maybe the audio visual goes up into the audience. And so that's what I was looking at, and I thought it was like garbage bags over seats, and then I realized it's not.
Yeah.
Garbage bags over seats. Yeah. The mark of a professional theatrical performance.
Oh, man.
Here at Universal Studios.
The last theme park item that we wanted to talk about for today is that the Disney Standby Pass is getting tested in Shanghai.
And that's the pass to gain you entry into the park?
Yeah. I'm looking at the Standby Pass page right now. It's an online reservation tool to help guests plan their queuing schedule for a more relaxed park experience. Okay. Oh, no, this is for individual attractions.
Oh.
For attractions where the Disney Standby Pass is applicable, the corresponding attractions are only open to guests who either hold a Standby Pass or special premiere access for the corresponding time period. So it's basically, it sounds to me that it's like the opening of, like they were doing for Rise of the Resistance.
Where you had boarding parties.
Like a super fast pass for every ride.
And the trial period has Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh as the only ride that they're doing it for. I hate that ride.
No!
So
must be like a line out the door for that.
Winnie the Pooh's Happy Acid Trip.
I can't even... We go to Disneyland and I'm like, there's a line for that god-awful thing? I'm like, you got rid of
The country bears.
the country
I know.
bears and
Why
put
would
this
you?
weird acid trip in.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that makes it even weirder is that there are all the little cars look like sort of beehives. They got
Yeah.
honeybees and stuff,
Yeah.
and they have little names on them. And there was one that I saw that said "thought," THOT, which
That's
is
a different thing now.
it is currently a very casual word for we will say a promiscuous woman, to be nice. And I'm like, that's on a Disney ride car? Has nobody looked at these in a while? Because
Wow.
Not in a while.
it's really,
Alrighty then.
really kind of awkward.
That's crazy.
Because that's how Winnie the Pooh spells it now.
Right, he
so-
does, and I get
well,
it.
he probably
And
didn't
it's-
spell it. Owl did.
But
Yeah.
But still.
the biggest problem that I have with the Winnie the Pooh thing, and I understand that everything must evolve, is that like they took out the country bears for that.
I don't
Yeah.
understand that
Right.
everything must evolve. Bring back Country Bear. Bring back my Skyway. Bring back
Oh
the
my
tea
gosh, that'd be great.
dancing.
Bring my skyway home.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I mean, because they, Country Bear is still in Florida,
I know.
and they created a Skyway for Florida.
Right, there's a
Like,
new
don't
skyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
But
I-
it doesn't
Yeah,
go
there.
through Manhattan.
no,
Tomorrowland?
It's
Matterhorn.
Matterhorn.
No,
The Matterhorn.
It's
No.
outside of the parks.
drawback.
Well, and their old skyway is still there, though, isn't it? The one that goes through Tomorrowland. That's part of the Tomorrowland Transit
I don't
Authority, or
think
is it
so.
gone?
No, they have
Am I
the
wrong?
People Mover in Orlando.
Yeah, the People
Tomorrowland
Mover.
Transit Authority.
But they took
Yeah.
out their skyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, their skyway's gone just like ours is as well.
Sigh.
Super
Yeah.
sad.
Boo.
Yeah. So I mean, at least that's the best thing for me is like, hey, they still got the Muppet, 3D, and they've still got,
Yeah.
the Country Bears. I'm like, thank goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's nice.
I kind of feel like it's almost time for another trip back there. But there's so many other places we need to go. I mean, honestly, I'd love to. After I didn't really care so much about seeing other Disney parks until we went to Paris, and we saw it in Paris, and I'm like, okay, now I kind of need to go to the rest of them. Now that I'm starting to like tick all of the haunted mansions off my list.
Oh, that's cool.
I kind of
I
need to
really
go
wanna
see
do-
the rest
I
of
want to
them.
do Phantom Manor.
It's super
really
cool.
cool.
It's super
Yeah.
cool, especially in that
yeah,
they're like, we had to up the ante because
Mm-hmm.
it's France and they're used to really grisly fairy tales. So let's just make them
Right.
all real skeletons. And it was
Yeah.
like,
The
whoa.
Right.
the thing you have to know
And,
about going to Disneyland Paris, though, is that they don't always post when they close rides.
Yeah.
So
They
both,
close things at dusk.
both the
Yeah.
the Nautilus ride, which is a walkthrough, and the
Storybook
Land close at dusk, but it doesn't say it anywhere. You just have to know that it closes at dusk. So
Yeah, so we
that's
missed out
important.
on the Nautilus. We did make
and
it on.
the other thing to know
Storybook
is
Land.
that they don't have shops, or at least when we went, they didn't have shops that were at the exit to rides. And so there's no ride merchandise anywhere in the park. And there's nothing that says Disneyland Paris on it. It's
Weird.
really hard to find anything that says Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, and we were going to bring something back for Trevor, who's a gigantic Haunted Mansion fan, and we were trying to find anything that said Phantom
word.
Manor, and the
Yeah.
only thing we found in our entire trip there was a box in one of the stores that if you bought something, they put it in the box, but they didn't
They
have the
wouldn't sell it to
boxes
us.
anymore. They wouldn't give us the box
Yeah.
because they were now using them as displays because the box's lifespan was over.
Yeah.
And
Oh, boy.
it was a total. But we ended up with because we're like, we got to get something for Trevor, and yeah, there were no gift shops at the end. Whereas Disneyland, you walk out
It's
of the
like
Haunted
every single
Mansion
one.
and they're like, ta-da! Here's a cart. Here's a cart.
Buy
Here's
it.
another cart.
Buy everything.
Yeah,
Right.
it was fun.
It would be fun to go on a Disney World tour.
Yes,
Not Disney World tour.
Disney,
A Disney
World Tour.
World Tour.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
It'd be like a grand tour from the Victorian era.
A grand circle tour of
Right.
Disney theme parks.
Alrighty.
That would be pretty damn
so
cool.
trailers this week. We actually have trailers this week, which is odd.
I didn't
that, huh?
watch them.
But also the trailers that we have are odd.
Very.
Major Grom, the Plague Doctor, is a movie that will get wide release in Russia next year, and I didn't see any information about it being released in the U.S. And it's
weird
not in English,
thing.
so I'm not sure why we're reviewing it.
It looks like a horror movie.
It's very comic book like.
Yeah,
because,
it looked like a comic book movie.
Yeah, it was like, what if you mashed together V and oh god, what was the other
The Crow.
Yeah, The Crow.
Kind of like a superhero
mash those two things
movie.
together, and V for Vendetta and The Crow, and that's kind of what this is.
But the problem that I had with it is not that it's in a foreign language. It's not that it's that I can't find any information that we're going to be able to see it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. Maybe,
reviewing
maybe
that's a
it'll-
little weird. And then the
I bet
other
it'll show up
one,
on Netflix.
it doesn't say that it's going to be
Yeah,
on
I know.
Netflix. It says it's going to be, and I meant Netflix.
I was
going to
say, did you just say Netflix? Like,
It's a whole different thing.
what are you watching?
Is this the Winnie the Pooh thing all over again?
It's just that I don't see, there's no information that I can find
Yeah.
on where to see it.
Yeah.
The other one is Enter the Fat Dragon,
Yeah.
which is it's a comedy,
Right.
Yeah.
karate chopping movie that was released in the U.S. at AMC theaters in February of this year.
Oh, okay.
So it already
that's weird.
came out. Most of it was probably missed because it
Yeah.
got released, much like the movie Emma.
Yeah.
It got released and then everybody got told they had to stay home.
yeah.
So
It was like it's a remake. Apparently, it was made before, like
Oh.
years and years ago. And this is a remake of Donnie Yen, from Rogue One and various other
well, I
other
mean,
films.
it looks like a
Ip Man.
comedy. It looks like it's kind of fun
Ip Man. Yeah,
for a punching movie. But
It's the description of this movie is really weird.
it is. Wait, the Major Grom one?
No, the one with Donnie Yen. It's like
Yeah.
Enter the Fat Dragon is a hilarious chronicle of the events that transformed super fit, super cop Fallon Zhu, martial arts phenom Donnie Yen, into a glorified records clerk with a major snack cake habit.
Okay, so go read the Major Grom one. It's even weirder.
I believe. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
honestly, the Major Grom one, and I know he's supposed to be a plague doctor, but I looked at the picture and I'm like, are they trying to beat the Spy versus Spy movie to
Yeah.
market?
Yeah. The
'Cause that's
thing
what it
with
looks
Enter
like.
the Fat Dragon is you'd think that AMC, since they had it in their theaters at the end of February, you'd think that they would have it on their streaming service,
Yes.
but they don't.
My favorite part is the title of this YouTube link for the Enter the Fat Dragon trailer. It says Enter the Fat Dragon 2020 official US trailer / Donnie Yen action movie. Okay.
Well,
That's a way
honestly,
to sell it.
do you need to say more to get people into the theaters or to go
I know.
watch it?
The minute you mention his name, I'm on board. So.
Yeah,
Except now I'm like picturing Rogue One, and he's like,
yeah,
I am one with the cakes, and the cakes are with me.
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder if this is like his version of Drunken Boxing from
Maybe.
Oh, you mean like Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan's Drunken Boxing. Is he doing like a fat guy type fighting? Is that what the deal
I
is?
guess, and then he's got to like work his way back into fighting shape, maybe.
Probably.
Oh, he's even got like
no.
he's even got like a fat suit makeup on and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to his like very slender profile.
Oh, totally.
So seeing him and that's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm used to it for Ip Man. So
Right.
Mhm.
Well, this other one, the Plague Doctor one, Major Grom.
yeah.
Is anybody else running like that
World.
song through their head?
Yes.
Ground control to Major Grom.
Major Grom.
That's going to be very different. But he's like
I
got
keep thinking
full on
of
like
that.
Batman armor and the Plague
Yeah.
Doctor bird mask thing.
It's that or like Kodan keeps popping in my head.
That, and it's also
Like Crom.
right. It's also a bit of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just bizarre.
And there are some villains
you
that
know.
look like Mickey Mouse. What the heck
looks
is
fun.
going on in this movie?
It looks
Yeah.
fun. The production value actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they spent some money on it, but
Yeah.
okay. I mean, maybe it's one of those things that you just scratch your head and watch. You're like, huh? I don't get it, but let's check it out.
We're just making movie right before the COVID.
That's really funny. I'm just gonna do a really quick rest in peace thing, where we've got Anthony James, an actor who was in Unforgiven and In the Heat of the Night, which pretty high end Oscar award winning films, whatnot from '67, and whatnot. Unforgiven was in 1992, and he did all sorts of TV: Hawaii Five-0, SWAT, Charlie's Angels, The A-Team, and things like that, and Star Trek: The Next Generation. One of those faces that you recognize, and we lost artist Christo, which was really kind of interesting. He's known for absolutely gigantic art installations where very frequently he would take a landmark and hide it. He would like wrap it
in plastic
and stuff, which was really kind of crazy. And so
is he the one who did the islands?
He did. He did the floating piers where you could walk across these floating fabric plastic cubes. That was in Italy. All sorts of stuff. And so people are planning memorials all around the world for him. You got the warning again that you've got another 10 minutes.
Well,
and then we lost Bob Kulick, who had stepped in to play guitar for Kiss. He passed away, unfortunately. And Mary Pat Gleason, who was in absolutely everything. And it's really funny. I could totally picture her voice in my head. And she was, this really cranky New York kind of lady that was like kind of nuts. And she wrote on Guiding Light, the soap opera, for years, which was really funny. And then she she wrote herself a part on the show, and she was doing a lot of acting and stuff. And most recently, she was in The Blacklist and American Housewife, and things like that. But she did, Basic Instinct and The Crucible and Intolerable Cruelty. And she's again one of those faces that you're like, oh my God, she was in everything. So sad to hear that those folks passed away.
Yeah.
Nobody indicating that they passed away to COVID though, which is nice. So
Yeah, totally.
that's
we
went through a period of time where that was like, ooh.
All right, so why don't we jump straight into speed round?
Okay.
And Andrew, we just go through the document and grab whatever you find interesting
that you want to
about.
talk about. Yeah, that you find is an interesting topic.
Great.
So
I see some things.
Should we have Andrew start?
Yep.
He's our
Yeah, if
guest?
you want, go for it.
Yeah, I like the. Hold on, let me do this real quick. 2 seconds, wasn't ready. There it is.
Sorry.
So I have the picture of the thing that's on your deal, which is the ISS Lego build kit.
Oh,
So
nice.
that is fantastic. I super want to
Yikes.
get that.
Yeah, it's not like minifigure scale, but it's got a lot of detail to it.
It's got a lot of detail to it.
Yeah.
And Adam Savage actually posted a video building it. And I watched
cool.
that, and I watched him put that all together, and it's got a lot of detail.
Wow.
Every one of those solar panels twists and turns. It's got a mini shuttle that can attach to it. But I have the Saturn V rocket that I've been waiting to build.
I almost bought it when we were at Legoland, and they gave us discounts.
That's when I got mine.
I know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people walked home with that, and I'm like, I really want to get it. And
then they built a lunar lander set all by itself, and I got to pick up that one. I want pretty much all the space kits because they're so good.
Well, Colleen picked up the A-wing for me, which is really cool, and I haven't put it together yet, but I want to do it as a build on Twitch, and just set up some cameras and build it and hang out and talk and
Yeah, we're actually waiting until we can get back together again in our studio for Perception Studio. And then once we can go back to our studio space, then we're going to get together and build that model because the Saturn V is like just ginormous.
Right
And it would be really fun to have 3 or 4 of us putting it together.
Nice.
So
That's super
what
cool.
We're aiming to do with that. So
sweet.
and I see the Galaxy's Edge Lego set right above that.
I know, and it looks super, super cool.
I would buy anything Galaxy's Edge Lego, 100%. That's super cool.
Well, and it looks very much like it's tied into Rise of the Resistance, which is cool because it's got the ITS.
And they made a Rise of the Resistance toy of like the escape shuttle that you're in.
I have it. We did an unboxing of that a while back when they first made us stay home. That was the last thing I bought at Disneyland on the last day they were open, so that I could come and do an unboxing here.
So I think
it looks like it's
playing
small
with the Lego
enough
stuff
to
would be
be more affordable.
This set, yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
I mean, like it doesn't look like it'll be. It looks like it'll be between $40 and $80. Just kind of looking at what they have, probably in the $80.
And it says that it's still a rumor because it hasn't been confirmed by Lego, but everything is pretty convincing.
Yeah,
I like the Lieutenant Beck figure.
Lieutenant Beck is awesome. Vi Marati is really cool. I love that they blue tipped her hair, which is neat. There's an astromech and a Gonk
The
droid.
Gonk is apparently, they think in this rumor, they're saying they think it's buildable.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
just
not
a
a
little-
regular minifigure.
Yeah,
It's made up of about 8 pieces, which is really cool. And then of course it's got the ship. But what they have the astromech droid, and I kind of wish that it had the little troop transport car.
and maybe it will.
It could,
Because that would be really cool. I'd be all about that.
yeah. And so we'll have to see. Fingers crossed that it's real.
Yeah.
Sean, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, let's see. There's a thing that we actually took quite a while to try and find, where I had a virtual invite to this on Facebook. The Pacific Symphony in Orange County, where I know I've done events there. Have you, Jeff and Andrew? Have you guys done things at the Pacific Symphony? We've gone
At the
down
Hollywood
and
Bowl I did.
which what? The Hollywood Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we had some Star
not
Wars
as neat.
symphonies and things there, which were really cool. And it's at the Segerstrom Center where these guys
I know where
perform,
that is, but-
and they're doing a John Williams concert that's free, and I think it's this coming weekend. And
Okay.
they've already said that they've got Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, and E.T. music that the Pacific Symphony is going to perform, and it should be cool.
I logged into it already.
Wow.
So it's up there. All you have to do is provide your email address, and then you can watch it. It's about an hour long, and you can watch it up until July 14th.
Right. And this is also, there's like a Q&A session with the people in the orchestra.
Sweet.
They're going to talk to musicians who have performed on the John Williams film scores, which is kind of neat. And then special to this orchestra, the associate conductor is going to pass his baton over quite literally to the new assistant conductor, and they're sort of indoctrinating him, which is just kind of fun.
Cool.
But yeah, it should be pretty cool, and definitely one of those things that you can throw on in the background while you're doing other stuff. If you want a good John Williams soundtrack for an hour, fire that up.
Who doesn't?
I know, right? And it's a good orchestra. It's a really good orchestra. I feel like I have also done an event with these guys down in, like at Irvine Meadows or somewhere else at the amphitheater down there during the summer.
Who plays down in Long Beach? Would that be Pacific?
It
Gosh,
might.
I don't know.
Symphony?
It
Because
might
I did an event at the Long Beach whatever arena or something that they have that's right down there. Forget the name of it, but I know they played bunch of Star Wars music, and Darth Vader came out on stage with some stormtroopers. And
Yeah,
but
we've definitely been on this stage, and Colleen and I saw some play or a musical or something there that I can't even remember.
Young Frankenstein.
Oh, Young Frankenstein, yeah, and it was like a touring company, but it was really good. And it's a really neat venue. It's all very futuristic and modern and stuff, and kind of neat. But I think they're going to have a whole series of these concerts. But you can cut your teeth on this one this weekend. And Kit has the links that she's got posting and whatnot. I'm giving you guys like a 1 minute warning. So you have a choice, Andrew. You can come back, or you can bow out gracefully.
Oh no, man!
I leave it to you.
We got more stuff to talk about.
Okay, yeah. Well, we usually go
pretty much.
into overtime. We're at 5 minutes
Sure.
to the top of the hour, but we often go 15, 20, 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
So Sean
Yeah.
will do the sign out thing, but we're not actually
Right. We'll
leaving.
sign off for the radio, which is a
Yeah.
repeat. We stop at 2 hours and then they repeat it later on. But we
Yeah.
keep going on both the radio and on the Twitter. So
Gotcha.
I sound like an old guy on the Twitter.
On the Twitter.
We're doing a thing on the Twitter. So why don't you guys go ahead and sign out, and I will end the call, and we will reboot all of this, and see you in a minute.
Okay,
Alright.
sounds great.
Wink. Wah. I'm really surprised that they just let us end the call and start it over again.
It's wacky.
Isn't it weird? They probably figure nobody's doing what we're doing, which is really very funny. So, and we record these things as we do it, and so it's like converting your
Why
meeting
is
recording.
Kit yelling Twitch. Wait, am I on Twitch? I'm on Twitch.
Yeah, she's yelling. Oh, because I said Twitter,
Oh,
I think, instead of Twitch.
here's me paying attention to the show.
But that was part of the joke. It's sounding like an old guy and
Right.
saying the wrong thing, and we're on the Twitter.
Right.
But people get it. They get it.
They
They
coming
know.
back?
You know what we're talking about? Yeah, I just fired it back up over here. They'll be here
So-
like just in time for us to sign off for the
Yeah.
2-hour break.
Right.
I just need to see them pop back on. That makes for great radio, I'm sure.
Excuse me. Oh my gosh. I am so tired tonight.
I know it's crazy, isn't
I'm
it?
just
Like super fatigued.
sleepy.
All right, we have Andrew, and he's on the
Yeah.
International Lego Space Station.
Wow, from space with Bob and Doug.
How's it going, eh? Okay,
going
so Canada made the space arm on the space shuttle, eh? And I kind of want to know if it can open beers, eh?
There it goes. Jeez Louise.
Because that would be cool.
Could you imagine if that's what they used it for?
I know. Well, that's actually a thing that Bob and Doug actually did. They actually did a routine asking about the Canadian space arm and if it could open beer.
So I also heard
Fantastic.
that the people in the room, the magic room where they're sending people off to space,
The magic room?
the program room, where all the control room.
The control
Mission
room.
control.
God,
Okay.
I'm tired.
The magic room.
Magic room.
Whatever.
room
It's all
where the-
magic. That they every time when they were leading up to this,
Yeah.
every time they were saying anything, they would tell Bob and Doug to take off. And they all had to be really super careful during the actual launch
Yes.
to not say that.
To not say take off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, which we were all joking about, which is, and when they canceled their first launch
Take off,
attempt,
eh?
it's like Bob and Doug didn't get to take off, eh? But it's pretty, and these poor guys are like never going to live it down, and
Right.
and but that's okay. Honestly, and the joke going around, of course, too, is that when these guys come back and they're picked up for recovery, everybody should greet them in gorilla costumes, like Planet of the Apes. Which I'm kind of down for. I already put dibs on Paul Williams' character Virgil. He's kind of a smaller orangutan. I think I could pull that off.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Somebody
Ouch.
put two photos together. One of them is Harrison Ford telling John Boyega, you should know I'm a big deal, or maybe it's John Boyega telling Harrison Ford, you should know I'm a big deal in the Resistance, and Harrison Ford looking askance at him.
Right.
And then right below that, there's a picture of John Boyega at
With
the
a
protest with the
Megaphone.
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. So wait, we have to sign off.
Yeah, we are at the top of the hour here. Thanks for tuning in on Krypton Radio. Very glad to have all y'all here. This has been Docking Bay 94.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Soledado.
I am Sean Crosby. Thank you so much to Andrew Lockerbie for being here.
Thanks for having me. Sorry, I stepped in.
No worries, not a problem. We go backwards at the end of the show. It's very weird.
I like that.
We forgot to warn you.
Yeah, and so this is the ending of the show for the radio, which usually cuts off at 2 hours, and then we usually do after show stuff. So you guys are welcome to hang around as long as you want,
Sure, I'm
or
already
until we get really boring,
Or fall asleep.
Colleen falls asleep.
Right.
I had an entire bottle of coffee. So my Luke Skywalker bottle that I usually put green milk in is now like my coffee bottle. I have this cold brew coffee thing that Colleen got me, and I've got it down to a science now.
So since we were just talking about the Bob and Doug the SpaceX, the man who designed the spacesuit for the SpaceX is a costume designer in Hollywood.
Yeah, and he's
pretty awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah, he's Jose Fernandez. He has worked on Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Tron, Iron Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man, and Captain America: Civil War. Those are some of his credits.
Wow.
But what is amazing is that he was approached by SpaceX in 2016 to participate in a design competition. And he said he didn't know what SpaceX was. He thought it was a film.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
He didn't know it was a real space effort.
And that must be why we were looking at their costumes, at their spacesuits. And we're like, they look like they're from Star Trek or something.
They look properly futuristic. And,
Yeah.
They
and
look fantastic.
Can I just say the entire Crew Dragon capsule, it really said sci-fi, whereas we're used to NASA taking off in these like 1960s, 70s era. Even the space shuttle in 77 was still kind of rickety, lots of switches, lots of buttons, lots of whatever.
Yeah.
And these guys took off and they're like, oh yeah, touchscreen, baby.
And they just hung out.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything, you know?
Oh my
And
gosh.
He also
looks so cool.
designed both Thor and Loki's helmets.
Well,
So
that's
the
a
Loki
strike
helmet
against
with
him. Yeah. Reindeer games.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been rewatching the Marvel movies, and the little nicknames that several of the characters make up for other characters
Right.
are so funny.
Yeah, totally.
And they've been pretty good. Although we missed Thor. We missed watching that one
of
in
the
order.
the second Thor movie.
Right, the second one, the
Oh,
Dark,
yeah, Dark
World or
World.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been having a pretty good time doing that. But the thing that I thought about these spacesuits, they really did remind me of some of the costumes in Tron Legacy, and I assume that's the Tron movie he
Yeah, a
worked
little
on.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's where the lines come from. The
yeah,
lines
and when
pulled up the article.
when Sam first makes it down into the computer, he meets Jem and the other white-clad women who get him suited up, and it looks very much like their designs for the suits.
I believe he also designed the outfits that the musicians who did the music for Tron Legacy.
Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Daft Punk,
I read that
yeah.
somewhere else. It's not in this
It's not in
article,
that article.
so I can't say that I'm 100% correct, but that's what I recall. Was that he
If you
designed
scroll
Daft
down,
Punk.
it's towards
Oh, it's
the
in
bottom
there?
right
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's I don't know. It was so great to watch this entire launch, and the amount of technology that we have today. Because I've gone back, and I was like 2 or something when they were doing space launches. in like 1969, and I've watched all the footage and I've watched him do it, and it was like this great adventurous cool thing, man going to space, man going to the moon. And to sit there and think that they like would shoot film of the launch, and then when they came back to Earth they would then develop the film so that you could see it. And here we got to see everything in real time as it happened. The segment separations, we got to see the engine firings, we got to see all of that, the docking procedure, just absolutely phenomenal that we got to be there for all of it. It's just super cool.
And it looks so futuristic and sci-fi,
Yeah.
which was done on purpose to get kids invested in it again and interested in it again. And it's gotten me interested in it again. It's not that the interest never left, but seeing the way it looks now, all sleek and futurized, looks like 2001 Space Odyssey or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, it's amazing. It's so cool.
And there's also, so the Crew Dragon, there are various configurations of the capsule, and they can do 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, 7 people. They could have guys in cargo, just people. And so there's a 7-person configuration in that capsule. And they're not jammed in there. They're not sitting on top of each other. They have space. It's like big enough to get these people into space. And there's a place that I've worked with, a museum called Tomorrow's Aeronautical Museum. Jeff and Colleen have been there. I don't know if you have, Andrew. But it's the Los Angeles home for the Tuskegee Airmen.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys run a school for the underprivileged kids. They're in Compton. And they run this school for the underprivileged kids that if the kids are doing their science work, they come in and they teach them how to fly. And the kids are setting records at like 8, 9, 10 years old for fixed-wing aircraft. And they're soloing it, like 11 years old. It's crazy.
Oh, my God.
And they had made a deal as of a couple years ago. I don't know if this is still in play, but they have made a deal with SpaceX that if these kids are busting their butt and they're learning their science and doing whatever, that when SpaceX starts doing regular launches into space, that 7th seat is reserved for some of these kids.
I forgot about that.
Which would be super, super cool. And I don't know if it's still going to happen, but Robin Petgrave, who runs that museum down there, he was super excited. And just how cool is that? And actually, a lot of us were super jealous because we're like, I wanted to fly planes when I was 10.
I want to go to space.
I know, right? That's really funny.
No, that's going to be so neat. And then I keep hearing them talk about wanting to send Tom Cruise up there to film a movie on the actual ISS. And I think that's a fantastic idea, and I'm all on board because it would be so neat to see space that's not CG.
Right.
You know, this is actual space in a movie versus
filmed
CG
on location in space.
Right? That would be so great.
I'd be down. I don't know. You know, it's a tough call. Tom Cruise, of course, is a shorter guy, so he'd fit better up there.
He'd fit good. He'd fit well.
Because I'm like, well, you know, you could send Chris Pratt, who's now doing the same kind of movies, but he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, Tom Cruise is like 5'7". Yeah. He's just a couple inches taller than I am. And I think that's probably pretty good. The problem is that he'd have to pass the health check because he's getting up there in age.
He is. So. But I mean, he does some pretty crazy stuff already in his movies. So.
Yeah, he does. So.
I think that he might be a good choice. I think.
I'm down. That'd be great. Somebody has to write that stat.
Yeah.
I'd watch it. So I've totally lost track of. Did everybody get to choose Sean? Did I jump the queue?
I think I talked
Jeff?
about the John Williams concert.
Jeff, did you talk about something?
I think it's Jeff's turn.
I didn't talk about nothing.
Go for it, Jeff.
Pick a topic.
I jumped
Talk
over
about
you.
something.
Sorry.
By cracky. No. So I wanted to talk about that a little show that ended after 8 episodes.
Little show of horrors.
There's a video that's in the link that with Rainn Wilson talking with John Krasinski.
Oh, the one that
And-
was Some Good News.
Yeah, and it's basically this is a different video. I think it's actually Rainn's channel, and he's talking to John, and this is after Some Good News had ended, and basically goes into saying why, or what happened with it, and what's going to happen with it.
Okay.
Some good news, and the good news of that Some Good News is that it will not be behind a paywall. It will be on actual CBS.
Okay.
Regular
That's good.
airing. But I think he says that it will be on one of the news programs on there. So it'll be like a segment, I guess.
Okay.
Or something. And
Well, that makes sense because it doesn't
yeah.
seem like there's an entire half
Yeah.
hour.
No,
there.
it's like a 10, 15-minute thing.
yeah, and he will come back to host once in a while, but he will not be there all the time
Oh, good.
because he's got other stuff to do. So, it's a
come
bummer
on.
that, you
He's
know,
supposed to just entertain us all the
yeah,
time.
it's a bummer that you have to go and find it on CBS, especially if you don't have any way to see it because of how they've changed things around in airing.
Well,
So, but maybe perchance they'll throw it back on YouTube through CBS.
I
CBS
feel-
has their own YouTube channel.
I
So,
feel like they'll do that. I feel like they'll break
Yeah.
it out, make it its own segment. Because honestly, so we don't have cable over here in Crosby land. We have an antenna,
yeah,
and we record a couple of shows off the antenna. Otherwise, we watch stuff online, or we do streaming services, and
Yeah.
we've got a couple of streaming services. But I see that kind of thing all the time on YouTube and whatever. There's like no reason for me to lurk on CBS or NBC or whatever, waiting for that kind of stuff, because they break it out and they put it online. And Jeff, you very frequently are sending over like classic episodes of stuff like Craig Ferguson and stuff from their talk
Yes.
shows where they broke out the good stuff out of that. So
yeah.
you know, there's no reason, I think, now to, if they're just going to put it on CBS, I'm pretty sure we'll find it online.
Yeah. Eventually it'll show up back up.
Well, good. I'm glad it's not going to be something that only a few people can check out, because I liked the concept of the show and I liked
Yeah,
the
me
service it provided.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Andrew, do you have another subject you want to talk about?
Let's go back to that. Yeah. Yeah, there's, let's see. Yeah, the two things on here. First one is the Walt Disney pledges $5 million to support nonprofit organizations that advance social justice. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love what the company is continually trying to push. Even though being like a giant corporation, there's still some really great ethics going on there. For one, they closed the parks early before COVID kind of went rampant, and made the choice to protect guests and the cast members before they were forced to do so. And then this one here, where they're pledging to support nonprofit organizations advancing social justice. And as well, on top of that, they also match cast members' donations to their personal nonprofit organizations as well,
that's
up to a
good.
certain amount. And I don't know it off the top of my head what that is, but
Oh, that's
I think
cool.
that's really awesome of them to be able to do that.
I was really surprised when they contacted me about the Pride Parade in San Francisco, and honestly, it was like this weird out of the blue thing, and they're like, "Hey, can you bring your car to the studio? We'd like to see it, please." And it's like, "Am I busted? Am I in trouble?"
What happened?
But the people who came out to meet me were from the Disney Diversity Department. And they very specifically had, at least at that time, I assume they still do, but they had a department that was focused on how to better support the diversity in their company and just be helpful instead of hindering. And it was really, really kind of neat. And those were the people who pulled together the whole Pride Parade thing and made it happen. and got there's like 10 Disney affiliated companies. They had people from all of them come out. It was really super amazing. And I just love having been in companies that like didn't care. They said they cared, but they didn't care. It was kind of an amazing thing to see. And it gave me a lot of it gave me more faith in Disney, and it took a little wind out of the, oh my gosh, look at this giant corporate behemoth thing that, is really easy to fall into with Disney because they're giant and they make stupid amounts of money.
Right.
So I'm glad that they're willing to take some of that money and spread it around.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool.
That's good.
Yeah. Let's see. That's you again,
It's me?
Sean.
It's me. Okay. Okay, so probably the most famous alumni ever to come out of San Dimas High School are Bill S. Preston, Esquire, and Ted Theodore Logan, who came out to tell the graduating class of 2020 of San Dimas High School to be excellent to each other. And they came out as their Bill and Ted characters and wished them well. And
Nice.
Because we're just not the graduation ceremonies right now have been really terrible. Colleen and I went and stood this past weekend on the curb in full costume. We wore our Jedi stuff. I did Luke, and she did her Jedi. We put our masks on. We brought our lightsabers, and we stood on the corner, and we waved to the graduates of one of the local parochial schools as they went by in their cars. And so everybody was properly socially distanced. But they got to do something fancy because they didn't get to walk and get their graduation that they should have. So there's this virtual graduation that they're doing with Bill and Ted, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, which is super, super cool. And I never ceased to be cheered by people who will take characters that they know people love and do something cool. Go to a hospital with it, do things like talking to this school. And, I'm feeling bad that we, as costumed people who do a lot of these kind of charity events, don't get to do them right now. I'm so glad that other people have picked up that slack, which is really pretty awesome. And for these guys to do it, we're amazing. And I'm totally waiting for this movie to come out. And now I'm just kind of like really, really cheered by it that it's like it's not just a movie that I want to see, but these guys are genuinely being cool with their characters. So
That's pretty neat.
it's pretty cool.
Jeff,
That's gonna be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
anything else?
So there was another Reunited Apart for Lord of the Rings that
It
came
was
out.
good.
So, and a lot of fun. I mean, it was great to see them all again. It was like not quite the norm for what he does, which is normally 80s films.
Well, and this was Josh Gad, who was Olaf in Frozen.
Yes.
And this is his fourth one that he's done?
Think so?
Third.
No, it's the
third
fourth.
one?
No, it's the fourth because they had
Is it fourth?
Goonies
Goonies, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, and Splash.
and Splash,
Oh, yeah,
and
so-
then
Oh,
Lord
we
of the
did
Rings.
Splash.
Yeah.
I missed
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
And they've all been
Splash was
super,
fun.
super fun.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
boy,
another one of those good things that really came out of all of this.
Yeah. It was nice to see all the characters the actors that showed up to do, the big Brady Bunch cube of videos, but I was like, where's Hugo Weaving? Darn it, and like Kate Blanchett. But it was neat to see like Sean Bean and stuff, and hilarious with Sean Bean because seemed like he was completely out of his element the entire thing. This is so funny.
And John Rhys Davies was completely in his element. He's been doing so much video and stuff. He's been having so much fun just sitting in a chair talking to people. I'm really glad that he came in and jumped in for this, because he's got a reputation of being a really difficult guy. And being kind of like a pain in the butt to work with. And he really had a good time.
My favorite part was when Josh Gad said, "Do you all have a prop or something from the show?"
Yeah.
And they all, except there were
Arwen.
2 of them. It was Erwin and Eowyn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither one of them had a prop on them. They were like, "Oh, I have something. It's at another location. I can't get to it right now." But the hobbits pulled out swords. The warriors pulled out helmets.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That was so great.
Well, that would be me. I mean, if I did a film like that, I'd be walking away with the full costume, head to toe.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you do realize you'd be stealing it.
Well,
yes, of course.
it depends.
I
So,
would
like,
ask for it.
Chris Pratt took his entire Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord costume with the express intent of wearing it to kids' hospitals, and he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. So, you know,
I mean, they could charge me for it too. It'd be fine.
Yeah.
yeah,
Put it in my contract or something.
Gotta be
But I
careful.
There
won't
you
want
do.
it.
So when you become rich and famous,
Right.
make sure that that's your rider in your
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah, man.
Just make sure, because
contract.
some of those
Dang.
costumes will go like $500,000, man. They'll get really
Right.
expensive. So
Yeah.
Right.
you have to be
And
really.
some of them are like Sean and I have handled some of the Marvel, at least one of the Marvel Universe costumes.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of layers.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
really heavy duty,
Yeah.
and
They are
it's
pretty.
kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I could see making a case. Like, I could totally see Tom Holland walking in and going, "Look, you have 15 of these costumes, and I really sweat a lot in that one. Just let me have that one.
Yeah.
I'll get it dry cleaned. It's
Exactly.
cool. Just
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
want to take that one home."
Right.
I need that.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
What the heck, man?
There's a mannequin
Yeah.
calling me with my name on it and that costume.
So the next one they're going to be doing is Ghostbusters, but that won't be.
Ooh.
It's going to
That
be on
won't- that's-
Monday.
It was supposed to open on, I guess, the 8th or something, but I think they're pushing it out a little bit because of what's going on.
Oh,
No.
I didn't hear
But
that they had
yeah.
pushed it out. I just looked it up.
It was on Instagram, and he had Josh had posted something
Oh.
saying that they'll tell everybody when, obviously, because he's like, we're really excited to show you to this, but
But we're waiting. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just think that's kind of a wise move. Things are so weird right now, and the argument can be made, like we talked about putting off the unboxing stuff that we were doing, and some people said no, you should really do it right now because we need something positive and entertaining to see.
No, last weekend was definitely not the time for it.
I thought so too.
Like
I
if
thought
we had
so,
done
too.
it Saturday, it probably would have been okay. But by Sunday, things
Yeah,
were
it's
just too. We needed to not
It was a bit,
make
yeah.
it about us.
Yeah, and that's what I felt. So it was cool. I mean, we can always get around to this stuff later.
Yeah,
it's not
totally.
time
And
sensitive.
it's not that
a big
exciting
deal.
anyway. It's,
No, it's
we've got a.
we have a box full of snacks that we were
got a
going to open.
box.
Right.
I have it right here in case we decide to.
And
open it
and I
now.
have my Lego set, which
Maybe it's got caffeine in it.
the Lego set.
there you go.
No,
I hope so.
the Universal Yums.
You have chocolate
Yeah.
in there
Because when you step on them on the floor, they inject the caffeine through your feet.
in the Legos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you guys there when we modified the Lego mural with the Velcro?
Yes.
Yes, it's such a great story.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. And it was gone the next time we came.
Yeah. Well, it's certain
That's
things.
hysterical.
Certain things will last about a week. I've discovered.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
so, like, I put a patch at Galaxy's Edge with some pilots gear. I had some Hazard Squadron patch
Yeah.
in there, and it lasted for about a week, maybe a week and a half, and it was gone. And
Ooh.
although I'll tell you the thing that I would love to do, and this would be a cast member thing. Somebody would have to pull this off with a cast member. There was was it Chris Nolan that was having a thing with J.J. Abrams? They were having a little bit of a one-upsmanship thing, and
Yeah.
J.J.
think
Abrams took a Tumbler toy and built it into the Millennium Falcon when he was shooting The Force Awakens. And so he did this great camera thing where it like spins over and it goes in and it goes past the Millennium Falcon. Then it comes up into one of the engine ports, and amidst all the pipes and gears was this Batman tumbler mounted to the spaceship, which was awesome. I really want someone to do that at Galaxy's Edge. Just get one of these things, spray it the color of the ship, and just mount it in one of those.
There is a tiny Millennium Falcon on the underside of the large Millennium Falcon in what we affectionately call Batu East.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are several of them, in fact.
Yeah, we don't have it in ours, and I don't know why.
I don't know why we don't. That's really kind of sad. But there's 4 or 5 across the land that you can hunt down and spot, and they're unofficial, of course. But
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
Well, it was nothing I don't think that they officially planned to do, and it was just like a Imagineer construction cast member thing. Mm-hmm. But I have always noticed that Florida is more flexible and more relaxed than California is.
And with quite a few things.
Yeah. So it's the Disneyland has a reputation of being Walt's park and has to live up to that. Whereas the Florida guys are like, well, we haven't really opened till after Walt passed away, and it's just a different thing. And the rules are very different over there. And so that's it. It can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. But I like that in a lot of cases they're like super laid back and super chill about stuff. I wish some of that carried over to Disneyland. But then sometimes it does, and sometimes they surprise you, like when we did Life Day, and they were so cool about Life Day, and they double checked everything with me, made sure we weren't going to do anything that upset them. The plans that we made were very specifically not to upset them, and the day was great. And they actually came to us at the end of the day, and they said, you know what, this was really great. Please come back next year. This was super fun. And for me, as a huge Disney fan, that's like that's a seal of approval. That's as much as I'm going to get from the park, that they liked something that I did.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, super fun.
So
you never got to do the one gag over at Legoland with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, did you?
I didn't. One of the things that we were going to do is we were going to put Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru on Tatooine in Miniland. And one of the things that stopped me, so I've been fidgeting over here with this little action figure. And this is about the scale of the Lego figures. They're about 3.5 inches tall, made out of Legos. And I never quite got to making these sort of black skeletons that we were going to drop into there. And actually, I sent them several notes because I made friends with a whole bunch of people over there over the course of 10 years of doing these things. And I'm like, where are the things going? Are you putting them in storage? Are they going up for auction? Are you going to raise money for charity with them? What are you going to do? No answer from them at all. So because I'm like, if you're going to put some of these figures up for auction, I want to try and get like Obi-Wan and Anakin or something, because we spent so much time in that land doing really, really cool things. And I don't even know what they're going to put there. I wonder if they're going to make and maybe they can't because of Universal. I'm like, I wonder if they're going to make a deal and do like Hogwarts or something, and which would be go Harry Potter. Because if they go Harry Potter, we can go back. This is Harry Potter. We could do Harry Potter weekend.
Yeah, totally.
Dust off our Harry Potter costumes and go back and do Harry Potter weekend. So
totally do that.
That would be super cool. But we shall see. Whose turn is it?
Well, we only have one item left, so why don't you take it, and then everybody can just talk about whatever they want while I space out.
Oh, okay, no worries. We mentioned this on last week's show that Ruby Rose was going to retire from Batwoman. She's stepping down after one season. It was a pretty big deal because there aren't a ton of LGBTQ superheroes out there. and there aren't a lot of LGBTQ actors that are performing them. So this was a very, very big deal. As I understand it, Ruby Rose had a stunt that went bad. She got kind of injured. She's leaving on really good terms. It's not, she didn't ask for more money. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
I think she just got a little more battered than she expected to.
Well, yeah.
And so I think she's stepping down for health reasons.
Yeah, it was a lot more of a load of a show for her to try to carry than she thought she would be able to carry because there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And
so
where she had to live. So
they're going to introduce a new character named Ryan Wilder, and the same rules apply. Still a gay character, still a gay actress performing the character, but a little bit of a different vibe. She's going to make the role her own. Still going to be Batwoman, and it's going to be like a passing the torch kind of a thing. So interesting to see. I haven't watched any of these episodes.
Me neither.
And in fact, I don't even see a note here as to where they are airing. Is it a CW? Oh, it's a CW thing. So I suppose we could have, but it's one of those things that I need to remember to set my DVR for and didn't. So, but I heard it was pretty good. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, and it's nice that they didn't just can the series, that they're going to keep going, because they could have easily just shut it down. So
this is true.
We shall see. Alrighty. Did we want to talk about the Ridley Scott rumor?
Oh, I thought we were done.
Can I just say, before we get into it, that I just read Ridley wants to make more Alien prequels, and I thought of Daisy Ridley. And I'm like, is she gonna pick up for Sigourney Weaver? What's
Totally.
Because that's a really different movie series if she does that. Because that'd be cool. I mean, honestly, saying that Ridley Scott wants to make more Alien movies is sort of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Although Prometheus didn't do very well.
Yeah, they got kind of weird. I thought Prometheus is the. Which one was the? Oh, Covenant was the.
Covenant was the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that got back closer to the franchise than Prometheus was. Prometheus was kind of out in left field in a way, and Covenant kind of felt more like an Alien movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be down. I love Alien. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and the franchise, the character creation of the xenomorph, I think is fantastic. So I would love to see more. But I was reading the article, and it didn't occur to me that Disney owns the Alien franchise now, the Alien brand.
Well, because they have Fox.
Yeah, because of Fox. So
the Queen Alien is a Disney queen villain.
So yes, she is. That's fantastic. And now it's even more fitting that it was in the great movie ride that no longer is.
Right. Yeah.
Over in that park. But
But
yeah, I mean, so that who knows if Disney's going to say yes or no, I don't know. But and if they're going to get involved to that degree. But
well, Disney rarely says no to anything that has a proven track record.
Of course.
So we'll have to see. But Fox is weird. It's still kind of like up in the air, and they're folding some Fox library into Disney Plus. But I guess a lot of the other Fox library is going somewhere else, like to Hulu, I guess. And so
still good though. If I can stream Aliens, I'm fine.
Right. Well, and drawing the line, I think, between sort of adult fare and kid fare is something Disney always tried to do. That's why we have the Touchstone label.
Yeah.
So I think they would be remiss if they didn't do more Alien films, especially if Ridley Scott wants to do them. Mm-hmm. It makes sense. But
and I'll go watch them.
Yeah, I'd check them out. I mean, honestly, if you go in with no expectations, any movie can be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And every once in a while, there's a movie that will like totally surprise me. Like what did I just watch? I couldn't sleep the other night, and I watched the Kingsman films.
Oh yeah, those are great.
They're super stylized. They're more James Bond than James Bond, and they get very back to the original concept of Bond as a dapper English gentleman spy. Except the action is ridiculously over the top in a Quentin Tarantino Kill Bill kind of a way. It's like that crazy.
The church scene from I think the first one was just outstanding. The way it was shot, like one take.
It's like a 59-person body count in that scene, and it's almost all one solid take. If there are edits in there, they're very hard to spot.
It was beautifully choreographed, both for the camera and for the stunt work as well.
It was nuts, and that was who's Mr. Darcy?
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth did an amazing job, and it was just. But
I really wanted to see those, but Sean said that they're too violent.
They're
and I would probably
really
not be
bloody.
happy.
But if you can go in with it and say, "Hey, this is just cartoon violence," you would be okay with it.
Gotcha.
I said it'd be easier to watch at home than in the theater.
Yeah. But it definitely has that kind of like slow motion death with blood spatter kind of thing going on, and it's artistically gruesome death. But the second one was like even more over the top, and some people complained, and I'm like, do you not know what these films are supposed to be? But I went in with no expectations, and I really enjoyed them. I really had a great time. So I think that's what you have to do with something that's as established as Alien. Don't go, well, they've got to beat my favorite film of the series.
Right? No.
Yeah.
Just add to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Build on the legacy of it and do whatever. That's why I'm excited for this upcoming Ghostbusters film that's been delayed, is because it's building on the legacy of the previous films. And we talk a lot on the show about how the all-female version of the Ghostbusters should have been their own franchise in a different city with different adventures.
Oh yeah, totally.
And not tread the same ground that the original film did, because it sold the actresses short and it sold the audience short, I think. And so at least this one, it's all new ground, even though we've got some familiar characters involved, and it's building on the legend that exists, and I think it will fare better than the last Ghostbusters movie.
Could be, yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Or it could totally suck. I don't know.
Oh, geez, hope not.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
All right.
Well, gosh, we have
score.
we have made it through our whole group here. Oh, bye, guys.
Who just checked out?
No,
Oh, has it been another 40 minutes?
it's been another 40 minutes.
Oh.
I'll just come back
Okay,
and see if they come back.
We've got to take care of that. That's just
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
happening once or twice is no big deal, but that's way too much.
So long, guys.
Listener Eric says he can hook us up, maybe.
Oh, okay. That'd be good.
Heck.
Yeah.
Hey. Sorry, I didn't see that one coming.
Surprise!
I was all, boo, get away.
Surprise. What's funny is you guys come back smaller every
We're
time,
tiny.
and I got
Smaller and on opposite
And
screens
on
again.
opposite
So just
Yeah,
leave
what the
me.
heck?
I'll be Jeff for the last.
I gotta do name juggling.
Yeah, just toss them around.
So I rummaged through the garage because I knew Andrew was going to be on today.
Uh-oh.
And I found something that I don't think Sean has had, but he had something that was made that they did make. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, is that the Fisher Price one?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Did you make this? What'd you say?
No. It's the I think he is the budget.
I think Fisher Price made those.
Yeah. It's a Fisher Price, and it's
No
like
kidding. Look at that.
I think he is like he's not full scale.
No, he's
no,
not.
he's
Not at all.
He's way
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
But
for-
he
for-
has
for kids-
articulated
for a kid,
eyebrows.
full scale. If you're a kid, it's full scale.
Yeah. So
But he's got the eyebrows that lift too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite characteristics of watching Animal is how his eyes are used to brighten his expression.
So Andrew, these came in these boxes like this. You could buy, the whole puppet,
Oh, yeah,
but
look at
they're
that.
they're small, and
That looks like Kermit's what was his nephew or whatever.
Yeah.
like Robin.
Like Robin?
He's
Yeah,
kind
looks
of
like Robin,
he's
because
definitely
of the
more
size.
that scale because he's made for little kids, and he's about like a half body thing, and he's got little Velcro hands, and
Yeah.
Kermit's getting a little weird.
There's definitely some issues with the inside of my
Oh,
mouth.
dear.
Yeah.
And but
The Kermit I had, which I think was even the Kermit I had that was like that, it had a weird bunch of, I don't know, fluff that they put in its head. So I had to fish around and move it out of the way.
this one
so
doesn't
that I
have
could
it, but
actually make it do it.
he's got like a plastic lining in his mouth that's gotten
Yeah, it's
sticky
weird.
with age because these were from the 1970s, I think.
Yeah.
So
Oh wow, yeah.
Now, back when the show
Yeah.
was new,
yeah.
So, and with
it's hard to
with
do
Animal,
puppetry here on
There's a little
with
thing
the
to
delay.
press inside,
Yeah.
like where your middle finger basically would just shove it down to do that.
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it's I've had this like since it came out basically, which I guess it was like the 70s or something.
Yeah, I'm
So,
looking for a date. 1978.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's
This
how long.
this was
that's how
put
long I've had
out
'em.
by a division of the Quaker Oats Company.
That's
Yeah.
Fisher Price Toys, a division of the Quaker
Yeah.
Oats Company.
They had Kermit, Animal, and Miss Piggy. I
And
think.
Piggy,
not
I
sure
think
what
they had a Fozzie.
Yeah,
Wait, did they have Fozzie or did they have Rolf?
I think it was Fozzie, but
Huh.
and it was this size too. It's just
Yeah, they
like,
were all
you know,
this
Woody-
this scale, and they're
is
like,
like,
it goes about halfway up my arm.
Yeah.
right.
And he's not the best. He doesn't have a
Yeah.
proper Kermit body,
Yeah.
but
Animal's
he's,
got just a little.
I don't know,
Little
he's
spot
fairly
behind it.
expressive.
For the,
Oh,
for
I
the
see.
opening in the back. So it's not really. It's more. It's not really a full.
It's more to just mess around with playing your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and they're designed to be like sort of indestructible.
But,
so you're
right.
supposed to
Yeah,
just
his
throw
mouth
them in
is
the washing
plastic.
machine.
His mouth is plastic.
Mhm.
You hear that? So
Right.
it's lots of plastic teeth and plastic mouth and stuff. But I guess that made it held up because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
does have Jim Henson's autograph on the tag though, which is cool. Although my video
Yeah.
is flipped, so you can't really see it. But
Yeah. Yeah, it is there. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of neat.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really funny. I didn't know
Those are
that you
awesome.
had the animal. That's
Yeah.
pretty great.
I wonder if you can.
Surprising that he stayed in this good a condition this long. But yeah.
Well, and so I'm waiting with bated breath if I get the
Ah,
the Muppet car going,
Oh yes.
where we basically just have a
All
big
falling
base
apart.
of operations for Muppets
and
at
I
events.
found out the car is up in the Studebaker Museum.
It is. I've
and you
known
can-
it's been there for like 10 years,
Yeah.
and it is. It was on display in the main floor. They seem to have taken it out because in the it was in the Prop Culture series on Disney Plus, and it was
Okay.
down in storage in their
Yeah.
basement. But I talked to them because they've had a bucket basically for 10 years or more going, help us restore this car. And
Yeah.
I've done all the legwork on the design of the car. I've done every side. I have all the information on recreating it. I just need the car to do it.
Yeah.
And I sent them a note and I said, would you like to team up on this? Let's raise money for both our cars. We'll do my replica. Let's do your original. Let's restore them. because that's what they said they wanted. And then they're like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And it's one of those things. It's a weird thing with museums where sometimes you get a feeling that having something in disrepair is more valuable to them than having it restored. Mm-hmm. And so like people might be donating lots of money to the Muppet car that allow them to keep the museum going. Yeah. But should we get the car and get it done? And I'm talking to several Studebaker owners about their cars, but I've put it all on the back burner because since COVID started and whatnot, in fact, I just sent out a notice yesterday going, hey, don't worry about us. Thank you for keeping us in mind, but go be safe and take care of your family and do all that kind of thing. And we're not going anywhere, and we're still here, and we'll see you when we come out the other side. But I would love to have a car solid enough that we could take that road trip up to Illinois and go to that museum, which would be great. And I've got, I have you in mind, and I have several other people in mind that not only as operators, but for finding sort of the optimum optimal recreation of the Muppets, so that we make sure that we get really good, really functional, very accurate characters. And then I want to workshop with the usual gang. I mean, I want to have a couple of things like chickens where anybody can jump in and be a chicken. But I
have one of those built, by the way.
Do you really? Oh my God!
Yeah.
And
it's not with me, but I have one. It looks pretty accurate to the ones in the
like
show.
like a Camilla.
Yes, like a
chicken.
Camilla style.
So
chicken,
I want to have some things like that where people can go, oh yeah, I can totally pull off a chicken. But I would love to have a group of people who were learned enough as a core group that we always have like a Fozzie and a Kermit and a Gonzo and a Piggy. Or a Rolf. We've got enough people who can swap in and out, so we always have a couple of really good, skilled puppeteers, and then we can have people who are like, yeah, I just want to play with a puppet for like a half an hour, and that too, because I want everybody to be able to play, which would be really cool. So yeah, we'll see how it all sorts out. So much of it for me just kind of hinges on the car as the base of operations, though, where we can just like hang out, sit in the car, and work these characters out the windows.
That's true.
And not draw attention to us, and just let them be the stars.
And that's what I love about the original car, because I saw it again on Prop Culture, and then have the fact that it's still in the configuration of what they set up for puppeteering.
Yes.
And so that to me is what's really cool, because that's the part I want to see, is how they worked out those front seats, and then the fact that I didn't know they had a driver in the trunk, and that's who actually drove the vehicle,
right? So
they could perform while driving down the street, and that's super cool.
Well, and that's the tricky thing too, is like inevitably I want to put this in the Halloween, or not the Halloween, the Hollywood Christmas Parade, and have the guys hanging out the car, which would be super cool. And so but I'm not going to put anybody in the trunk. It's like, let's not do that.
You just have to have Sweetums drive the car.
Right, and, exactly. Well, Sweetums could just push it.
Right.
You know, honestly, it's just
that'd be great.
That'd be really funny. Jack not named, Jack job. But that'd be funny.
So great.
You know, I'm looking at a list here of these Fisher Price Muppets. I see Kermit, Animal, Rolf, Piggy. Piggy is like a vinyl head. There's a Fozzie and there's a Scooter.
You're a vinyl head.
I'm a vinyl head. You vinyl head. You were a total vinyl head, man. But anyway, I joined all the Muppet recreation pages, and I'm lurking. I'm trying not to be a jerk over there, but I'm totally lurking. But and they're like, if you get the car, is your next project going to be the bus? I'm like, no. Someone else can do the bus.
That's a lot of work and a lot of performers. Jeez.
Yeah. Not so much. That's really funny. Well, that's awesome, Jeff. I had no idea that you still had that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's neat.
I mean, basically my mom, I think, got it for me. Let's put it that way.
Cool.
And I'm still impressed that it's got the eye mechanism. I mean, even for the kind of toy that it is, the fact that it still does that, I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's like the inside is like getting that weird dust, deterioration, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's like sort of a weird felt, but not really.
Yeah, this is like a polyester nylon fleece.
Yeah.
And like there is no way of smoothing out these seams at all.
No.
They're just like completely screwed. But the for smaller hands, like I've got a smaller hand, and when I used to do Kermit for kids hospitals, I built a fake hand back so that my hand more closely mimicked Jim's, who had big giant hands.
Yeah.
And so this is actually in a smaller configuration. Actually works really well. But he's like maybe half scale. His eyes are really small for like ping pong balls and things like that.
Yeah.
So he's not quite there. And then he's got no body to speak of.
Yeah. With Animal, his eyes aren't really even a ping pong ball. It's like they have a white connector in the middle.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's
Isn't that
really
weird?
funny. Yeah.
How bizarre.
It's like
Nice.
yeah.
But
far enough away you can't tell, but yeah, it's just really weird.
yeah. Well, as far as toys go, that's pretty good. And when I worked at Mattel Toys, we were doing some Muppet stuff where I actually got to go do Kermit's voice for a whole bunch of toys. And one of them, though, was the beginning of digital recording toys. And so like 1991, 92. And they had a thing where basically they recorded my voice, and every time you opened the mouth, it would play a syllable. And so you could do a whole sentence as Kermit, but the puppet would speak. So kids that I don't know, had no imagination or couldn't do Kermit's voice or whatever had that. I always thought it was kind of weird because I'm like, let them do whatever voice they want to do. They don't have to exactly sound like Kermit.
Right.
But yeah, it was an interesting thing. But Colleen is the one who tracked this one down for me with the box, which is a little amazing. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch on eBay.
What's
I
that?
saw a bunch on
I have
eBay
no
right now, but
memory
none
of
have the
that.
box.
Sorry, I took everything off.
Not a problem.
done.
Colleen says she has no memory of digging that up for me.
Yeah, I like the fact that Animals, the pink hair that comes out is still fluffy.
It's still there. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were really,
great.
really well constructed
Yeah.
for toys especially. And they had a bunch of dolls, too, that were like dress-up dolls. They sold costumes. And so they had Piggy and Kermit and Gonzo that could do that. And back in the day, in like 1977, 78, 79, you would walk into a department store and there would be a wall of Muppets. And they had these. They had stick puppets. This is basically just a little figure on a stick that you could do. They had finger puppets. They had action figures. All sorts of really. The Muppets were like just a huge thing for Fisher Price. Close and play record albums, and little movie projectors, and all of that. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've seen a few places, a few different people selling versions of the Muppets, so to speak, that are fairly good. But I mean, not a lot of Kermits that look really exactly like they should.
there are a few. If you can hunt them down, you just have to be careful because, like anything, like doing Star Wars costuming or doing things like that, you have to make sure that the person you're dealing with is really reliable. Because there's a lot of tales of people who make like amazing replicas and then they send them money and they never hear from them again, or they have this horrible battle trying to get their stuff, and it's like, I gave you money 4 years ago. Where's my stuff?
Yeah.
It's, and you got to be really careful about that. Talking about our felted friends here. What's your next thing that you're doing? Andrew, when's your next sort of show on Twitch.
The next show is tomorrow night, which I won't be a part of because I have other plans. But I'll be returning next
How
week.
dare you have a life? Come on.
Right? How dare I try to do something?
My gosh.
But tomorrow night they're doing Trashterpiece Theater. At,
Nice.
I believe. What time do we start that? 7:30. Yeah, 7:30 Pacific time, and yeah, they'll be streaming that. I think the last 2 nights we've been doing radio plays. The last two Fridays, we did Dick Tracy, Green Hornet, Dimension X, and
Great.
just whatever we could find.
Yeah, there's a lot of scripts online if you
nice.
hunt around for them, and yeah, we've always had a good time doing the radio dramas.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun, and so I'll be back next on probably next Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. And I might go live tonight to stream some Planet Coaster because I've been obsessed with that video or that game. Just building my own theme park and building
nice.
a dark ride.
Nice.
So.
I am
I
not
gotta play that
comfortable
game
enough having people watch me badly play games.
Luckily, with this one, there's no like skill needed because you're just building and creating. And then you can also do the pre-made like roller coasters, plop that down and go ride it. People get to ride with you, and that's really fun.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, right now I'm building a dark ride with a Pirates of the Caribbean type boat system.
Oh, sweet.
And so that's been really fun. So I was like, well, since I'm playing anyway, I'll probably just stream that. And if anybody is around and wants to watch.
I started to replay L.A. Noire.
Oh, yeah.
Which
yeah,
was pretty good. And honestly, like, I should do this on Twitch just to get my hours up. But, you know, I don't know. It's not like I'm a good gamer. I like playing games. I'm not that great at it, you know.
And that's the thing is just people have always said when you're trying to get into the gaming thing in Twitch and what is just play it and have fun.
Yeah.
Be yourself. And then if people show up, it's because of you being yourself.
That's it. And
so that's all you got to do.
Between that and the Ghostbusters game that I never quite finished, I really need to like fire those up again and give them a shot and
why not?
do it. So, well, we shall see. We shall see. Well, Colleen has
checked out.
She is done.
That's gonna happen.
And we're at about the 3-hour mark. So
Man, wow.
And,
way longer than normal.
Although, you know, you guys have 20 minutes before you get dumped.
Yeah.
We've already lost you like, what, 4 or 5 times? Which is really funny. And, but, yeah, let's, I think we can probably call it. I didn't, usually I go and I fire up Twitch to see who's on, and I didn't go do that. Which
We're hopping today.
I think
so
we had
what's that?
We had 15 for the long time.
Had a lot to do.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on, but usually I sort of check on the stream and see who's there and that kind of stuff. We tried to set something up. There's Restream, and then there's another one that's called Caster. And we were trying to set something up for Caster, and we didn't.
Succeed.
We didn't get that going. It was way too complicated, and we couldn't do as many things as we wanted. So it was like basically, why don't we just stay over here on Restream because it's working for me. I've figured it out.
It's working.
It's kind of funny. But not a problem. Well, I'm glad you got to come hang out with us finally, Andy.
That was
awesome.
Long time coming.
Yeah, and we would have done it last week, but we had our interview.
That was great.
And so you got kind of bumped, but yeah, you're welcome. Welcome anytime. And if you ever need us for anything, let us know.
Oh, absolutely.
And we are around. But hopefully we can eventually sort everything out and get ourselves back to Galaxy's Edge, which I'm waiting for. And
totally.
And regarding like work and stuff, you're just kind of hanging and waiting to be reactivated, right?
Yep, just playing the waiting game. Luckily, the government's got got me covered with unemployment at the moment.
That's good.
But yeah, it's just playing the waiting game, and I've heard not a single thing. So,
Boo.
Wow.
so
Well,
I have no idea.
you'll get there eventually, and you're you're not the only one. There's a lot of folks who are.
Yeah, and I know that there's people want to wait, but sooner the better for me would be nice. But I get how it is.
I get too antsy, and doing the radio shows and stuff is sort of my job, although it's not like anything I get paid for. But we've been doing this show in just a couple weeks. It will have been 8 years.
Yeah.
And the morning show's been going for like 4.5 years or something, and whatnot. And if I didn't have that going on, I think I'd be climbing the walls.
Yeah.
I'd be going.
Yeah, and
really nuts.
that's what I miss from work. I don't miss necessarily the place or the work itself. I miss the routine that it got me in, the fact that it just got me up and out of the house and just moving forward with my day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one part that I miss the most about it.
That's why I have a morning show,
Understand.
is to make myself get out of bed. I'm like, okay, 9 o'clock, I have to do this thing. Otherwise, I just stay in bed.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Right on. Well, if you guys are still listening, you are superstars.
Superstar.
Both over on Krypton Radio, where we have people right now from United States, Germany, United Kingdom, Estonia, and the Russian Federation.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
Cool.
And to all you folks who are watching on either YouTube or on Twitter or all of the various places that we are now scattering this around. We started putting these on YouTube, and we have like one viewer on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll have to try to promote it on my page a little bit more, see if we can get it going.
It's tough to navigate and figure that sort of thing out.
Yeah. Well, and also from a strategy standpoint, do you put yourself out everywhere you possibly can, or do you say we're going to do like these 3, and you can watch us there? Yeah. And so that's kind of the thing. Like we got on Twitch as a last minute thing. Basically, Colleen came home one day and went, we're doing Twitch at work. We should do Twitch for the show. Yeah. And like within that week, we were on the air. Not very polished, but we were on the air.
With Perception Studio, we're primarily on Twitch, and we've only recently started going live to YouTube to pull in a totally different audience. And we definitely saw some different viewers pop in on YouTube versus Twitch. It's fascinating to me because I'm familiar with all the social media platforms, but I've got to remember that not everybody is. Right. So when we're live on Twitch, people are like, "What's Twitch? I don't have that," and then they just don't bother to check it out because they don't. It's not something they already have, and they assume that you got to make a profile or you got to do this and that. With Twitch, you just literally got to look it up and you can watch anything before even creating a profile, which I think is really cool.
Right. If you just need the link.
Donate. Right. And if you want to comment and donate, then of course you have to create a profile and that sort of thing. But so I find that a really funny outlook that people are like, it's too much trouble to just type twitch.com and check it out. No. But so yeah, I think we're starting to do the same with our studio channel, is to branch out and grab some more viewership on YouTube for that sort of thing, to change it up and kind of grow the crowd. But we've got a pretty sizable following on Twitch. Cool. And it's mostly because we play games, and that's what Twitch is built for.
This is true.
But with another channel that I do live streaming, Resort TV 1, we do live streaming with them at the Disney theme parks, and that's primarily YouTube and only YouTube. Wow. So yeah, it's interesting to see how the different platforms are utilized and which one works and doesn't work and that sort of thing. But I still have yet.
People have different favorites that they really like too, and it's like some people really like Instagram, some people really like YouTube, and getting them to switch from one to the other is difficult. And like the radio station, like Krypton Radio, it's about 15 different ways to listen, and some of them are ancient. Like who uses real audio anymore? Yeah. But if you have it and you like it, you can still listen to us on real audio. And the station got its start in Second Life. The game system, and so they were like a nightclub, and they decided we're we're going through all this effort and we're putting all this music up there. Why are we not just on the internet for everybody to listen to? And that's how the station kind of evolved. And then, they started licensing their music. They've got a news page that they post news stories every day at kryptonradio.com. And, it became this sort of juggernauty kind of thing. And we got involved about halfway through their 10-year history. The station Jeff and I started off on, they're gone.
All that.
Yeah, I think their Star Trek site is still kind of limping along, but
it's still going.
It's not super strong. And the Star Wars one, just like by 2015, it was toast. Yeah, so such is the nature of the internet. Right on. All right. Well, we've hit the 10 p.m. mark, so I'll tell you what. Let's say goodbye to everyone. Say goodbye, Colleen.
Goodbye, Colleen.
Say goodbye, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye, Andrew.
Goodbye, Andrew.
And goodbye, Sean. We'll see all you guys tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. I will be back on the air at Good Morning Tatooine on Krypton Radio tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And Andrew, give your channel once again.
Yeah, if you go to twitch.tv/Perception Studio, you can catch me and or my felted friend playing D&D and a whole bunch of other games.
Terrific. Sounds great. Woohoo! Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. And we will see all y'all next Thursday when we redo this all again. And like I said, tomorrow on Good Morning Tatooine at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. only on KryptonRadio.com. And as always, guys, may the Force be with you.
Be with you. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Puppies, 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 puppies. And then there's such this huge convoluted thing. Everybody's like, we can still hear you. You just ended the show, and we can still hear you.
I know.
And that's because I have to get to these things to turn them off.